Hello. Oh, I started too soon again. Hello, we're back. And it is another bright and fresh Wednesday, 7 p.m. Irish time. And we are here with the Wandering Isles. Thank you for joining us today. I am your DM. My name is Ken. And I am here today to keep these fools in line, soothe them and whatnot, get them educated and stuff. Anyway,
Eos is not legally trained.
Well, she about to be. We have our recap from the great and wonderful Mr. Busybee today, and we will then jump straight into it. Busy, take it away.
Wait. Okay. Last week, Orc flew around, saw some thingies, and Orc is gonna tell you all of them. Orc saw Eos and Weslyn to talkie-walkie, cause Wes still has had a dream. Eos said, no dreamy, Wes, you poochie-patchy, but Wes had no clicky-clicky. But then Chaka Matcha arrived, them called it Dr. Harrow. Orc saw him, Slatey, goosebumpy, skit-scattering in his bed. Amaedriannicus Bloodfiticus smelled them swatty balls and rushed in for the aid. We saw that sneaky zip followed the Harrow and lurking here and there. The Harrow, with a good maro, smelled them feet behind the desk. You filthy slick, you looky look min work? You lurking for me putting you to sleepy? No, that cheesy foot said. Me so looky all everywhere. Me so lonely, me so no work, me so gonna go and leave sir with the peace. Lucky the cheesy foot was, and back she went to the Slatey. They made the talkie under the blanket so Orc could not hear. Orc just smelled the schmoozy, and now the two is one. We call the Slay Me.
What? That was crazy. I didn't realize we had a guest appearance from Jar Jar Binks or a hate crime. I'm not quite sure which. That's awesome. That was great. I'm just messaging our lawyer. Yeah, damn, that was awesome. That was great. Well done.
I think it's in the public domain. It's fine.
Nobody else take any time off so that we can give Busy time to recover from that, because that was that was a lot.
He needs some time.
I don't know about Busy needing to recover. I think I need to recover after that.
Why?
Slay me.
You have to watch it back and try to translate everything.
Oh no, I translated it.
Oh, what was the schmoozy? Tell me, what was the schmoozy?
It might defeat the purpose of the recap if you have to watch it back to understand it.
You're not wrong.
Well,
Oh Lord.
yeah, let's get a smoozy shirt in the store.
Smoozy. We want mousy.
Mousy.
Stinky feet.
I listen. We're moving on. When you start involving feet, I'm done.
We need a feet emote just for Roper.
At the feet, you not need a feet emote just for Rupert. Yeah,
Cheesy
so
feet emote.
we're at the tail end. The inspiration is going out. I'm gonna start throwing at the people. We at the tail end of Amaedrianna and Slate catching up on the things that she had learned in her snaky travels, and we caught up on a 2-month quick flyby to get time moving. With that in mind, we are somewhere in the midst or at the end of that 2 months. Not much has changed. Dr. Harrow is still here. She's still present, and she's still experimenting, and the only thing that is noted in any escapades to watch her or anything is that she continues to do much of the same. With that in mind, what do you always want to do?
I'll start then.
So I start blasting.
Yeah. Start stabbing her.
She's immune to slashing and piercing.
Is she immune to fireballs? Because I can introduce her to someone. I think over this kind of period and over this time, like I said before, there's going to be a few different things that Amaedrianna did, but the other thing was that she's looking to work out the teachers and what their like not abilities are, but kind of what they more specialize in. Now, obviously, they have their own classes and stuff. This will eventually lead her to, like, I'd already said that she'd been watching in on some of Slate's classes. Not that Slate would have known, because she'd have done it sneakily. To look at how magic and that is consisted of. So I think she's gonna have been traveling around the teachers, kind of trying to work out each of them, and then when she gets to that class, she might get a little bit more stuck on to that one. So yeah, she'll be there to check out the magic side of things, basically.
Okay. The thing that comes from magic is that it's not determined by one source; it's determined by many. If you take someone like I'll be a bit more vague because I don't want to out people. There are certain characters around the school and stuff like that who don't require anything, just innately can cast magic, and in some senses, some of them, like Boreal, require a book. This is not a secret. We've seen Boreal with a book. This is a usual thing, and the only time you've ever seen him cast a spell without using said book was when he obliterated all of you. Other casters, they are more along the lines of maybe someone like Weslyn, for example, who maybe spend more time with nature and are nature-based magic. There are casters out there who look quite skilled at using magic, don't require a book or anything else. They are just able to conjure things and do things, and that ability is built in for them. And then, of course, there are things that, like, for example, sigils that you have to learn, and there are runes, and there are circles, and there are outlines, and there are things and shapes that matter in magic, and things are really important. And, like, IRL, well, I say IRL. In pop culture, a really good example of that, and one of the best examples of a wizard, even though he's a sorcerer, is Doctor Strange. He's using a lot of sigils and magic. He's using book. He's using knowledge. He's learning. He's studying. He's retaining this information, but he still uses books and different things to gain that knowledge. Wizards in D&D are much the same, and so, of course, those are the ones that would stand out the most, because this school has a lot of predominant wizards rather than, say, sorcerers, warlocks, or druids, but they are also present.
Although we're calling them all witches. Gotcha.
I don't pick the name.
Yeah, no. I'm just going by what Wes has said.
Hell yeah.
They are all witches.
They're all witches.
Including Wes.
Including Weslyn, yeah.
No, hardly. Not at all.
Chicken over the 2 months has eaten more than 2 months worth of roast chickens and is very happy doing so. Never gaining a pound.
I think Amaedrianna is going to try and get a notebook then of her own. Like, she'll just get hold of one herself.
Yeah, with ease. Yeah, that's no problem.
And I think she'll start making notes towards like trying to work out these sigils and having them on the pages and stuff, and writing it like how the teacher might write them onto the board, sort of thing. She might not understand it all, but she's got it there, like, in case she ever gets to the point of understanding it.
Yeah, right. Okay, no problem. So she's gonna start practicing the arcane and trying to figure those little noodles out, and trying to see if she can understand more about it. It is a little weird that some people pick it up quicker than others. So just because you're not picking it up or can't cast a spell or something doesn't mean that you can't do this. You can absolutely do this. But there are people in the class who are maybe doing this a little quicker, moved on to things like firebolts and stuff like that, but you're still working on it. But there's something compelling there. Yeah.
And she's especially looking out for any, like, if they do any practical magic, she's going to be watching out specifically for anything to redirect, to shield, to break up movement, essentially, like what Slate did to her.
Practical magic can usually be found on most streaming services around Halloween. No, sorry, wait. Of course, practical magic.
Not a bad film.
Careful, my mom loves practical magic. She's sitting in chat there.
I mean, Sandra Bullock, you can't not love it.
Sandy B. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely learning about. You're learning the theory of magic rather than the practicality of magic.
Yeah.
Another.
I was just saying, like, that's the schools of magic that should be kind of really focusing towards.
Another crisscross point for this, should you choose to take it, might be Eos, because first of all, she is a caster. She's heating up kettles with her hands and doing things. So, like, there is a magical essence to her. The other side
I assume she would be in the same class. So
she would be in some of the classes for sure.
Yeah.
The other side of it is that she also works the library, which would have extensive books and information on magic users, and the history of magic, because this is a magical facility. It is one of the only libraries in this entire place. This, I guess we'll call it a continent, but the archipelago or whatever. I guess this is this area. This is the only place you'll probably find a lot of information about magic. There aren't too many. There are other sources, but there aren't too many out there that contain magical information. So this is a place that Amaedrianna may feel like she would want to retain the information or learn the information from. Yeah.
She probably would head up to the library and to do that at some point as well then. But that's definitely something that she wouldn't actually directly ask Eos's help for. Cool. She'd probably try to keep it a little bit on the down low.
Gotcha. Obviously there are a few people who have demonstrated magical abilities and things throughout the group. I was just picking Eos in this specific instance just because of her knowledge innately with the library as well. I guess we'll go in sort of alphabetical. Mr. Dash, do you want to tell me what you're sort of up to these days?
Unusually quiet is Mr. Dash at the moment. Not like, sad or anything, just a kind of in a studious mood. He's
sitting in his room with different pictures of women on his wall. He's trying to narrow them down like it's some sort of game show.
He has a lot of red string, and he has chicken going to fetch him food. He's just locked in the room, and
like the Charlie Day,
literally, no, he's in a studious mood. He would be seen a lot with his journal, sitting in the common room, staring out the window, and just, taking notes, etc. in his journal. He would at some point. There's two people that he would need to speak to. One would be Remington, and the other would at some point be Eos as well.
All right, here we go. This is the battle I have every week to get back into Remington's voice, and by the end of it, it sounds totally different. That's fine.
Yeah.
We can start with Rem. That's easy enough. He's usually around his office or walking the halls or somewhere. He's somewhere. He's always somewhere. So.
Yeah. So I'd go to the office and
give it a knock. Yeah. The door just opens by itself, and he's like, "Ah, Mr. Dash."
Oh, good evening. I forget it. It does that.
Automation. It is the future.
It is. You should get some sort of assistant where you could speak to it, and it would, automate those processes for you.
Yes, absolutely. Spells in a real instant. Siri for short. Yes, I would imagine. Yes, of course. What is it that I can do for you?
Claudius for being very quick with that, Ken. Well done. That was very good.
Thank you. What can I do for you?
I actually just wanted to see how you are. It's been an interesting couple of months with lots of changes in the school. Thought I would stop by and
yes,
you always check on us. I thought I would return the favor.
It's quite nice of you. Yes, I'm feeling much better now that things are back to normal a little bit.
As much as anything around this particular school can be called normal, I suppose. Yes. And how go things with Boreal? I can't hide the fact I'm not too pleased about his particular situation.
He's taking to this quite well. His magic is enhancing. He's growing. He's doing quite well, and he's what I'm about to say does not leave this office, or at least your inner circle, shall we say. He's learning and studying quite well, even if not on an official level.
Oh, good. It's wonderful how people can pick up their own abilities by instinct, isn't it?
In a few short weeks, we will be approaching a period where It'll be for the New Year cycle, holidays. And most people tend to choose to go home during this time, or some can stay here, or whichever. I would strongly advise that you reach out to young Miss Lissa.
I was going to ask if you heard from her, actually. I haven't.
Well, not since she left, but I think it wouldn't take much persuasion to get her back on her course.
No, I wouldn't think so. Did she, before she left, did she say much to you about her reasons?
Well, to be honest, Ash, I'm not sure that's really my space to say. She's struggling with a lot of things. This is a very new environment to her. Her interests go beyond the scope of a normal classroom.
I'm very aware.
Whilst I encourage people to explore those interests, they can be sometimes dangerous. I would worry more about what that would do for her if she was on her own than if she was to have a companion at her back.
I see. Yes, well, I'll be sure to speak to her. Thank you, Remington.
Yes,
I'll kind of make for the door. Before I go, you didn't happen to know my father, did you?
Well, I suppose a long time ago, perhaps, yes. He was quite the advocate for magic users and for those like it, yeah. Marcus,
Do you
yes.
know? Yes, that's him. I hadn't thought about him in a while until recently.
He was a good man.
Did you have any? Did you have any dealings directly with him?
More indirectly. He was quite the salesman, which is where I guess you would get a lot of your charm from. He had an affinity for finding very special things, and he would give them to the person he thought they would be safest with. I fear that this landed him in a spot of bother, hot water. But
Thaddeus?
yes, and his sort, yes. But he was a straight shooter. He wanted to do everything right. He believed in fairness and equality for everyone, and he would be very proud of the man you've become and the people you associate with. But I won't lie to you, he is, and his connections to us are a lot of why we kept an eye on you, and why we think you're a good fit here. He's a good man.
He is a good man?
I choose not to believe the rumors. People don't just disappear overnight, and I know what can happen. He is not the only person whose story sounds a lot like this.
It's good to know. I think I have some time to spend in the library.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, as always, Remington.
If you need anything, feel free to let us know. We'd be more than happy to assist as much as possible.
Of course. Thank you.
Of course.
I'll head out and make my way to
Siri, close the door.
library.
Just for brevity, I'll say that Eos is probably there just because you wanted to talk to her as well, if that's okay.
Oh, yes, wonderful. You're here.
Where are
Get
you?
out of my room!
I'm looking for a name in a book.
Name in the book. Okay, what subject would the book be?
Prisoners, Scorchwood, disappearances.
Dash, as you know, things are pretty censored around here. I'm not sure. I mean, we can of course look, but that kind of material may not be available to students for a reason.
It may not, but, and I have looked extensively before, but my head was a bit scattered at the time.
Okay.
Can you keep a secret?
Of course.
I thought my father died years ago, but I have reason to believe that he may still be alive and in Scorchwood.
How many years is years ago?
Oh, 15, 16,
So you would
quite
have
a while
been
back.
Quite small then.
Very young.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I haven't paid much heed to it. I don't feel like it encumbered me in any way. But Thaddeus hinted that he may have locked him away in Scorchwood, so I'm eager to find any references to the name Hydeman in any capacity linked to disappearances or Scorchwood if I can.
Okay. I'll do my utmost to try and find something.
Thank you.
Well, in that case, one of you can have advantage, or both of you can do a single roll for history.
We both do roll?
Both do roll. Why not?
Yeah, why
Go for
not?
it, yeah.
Share the funsies. I rolled a 13, and he else with a 17.
I was making this roll really hard, so in a sense, the 17 was pretty much on the button. That's not even in a sense, that's just direct. But in a sense, I was like, maybe they'll get a tiny bit of this, but yeah, you hit it on the head. What you don't find is information of like prisoners and Scorchwood and that sort of stuff. Like they're not going to have information of that here. He would need to break into a super secure facility, go down into like a filing system and figure all of that shit out, right?
We'll do that.
Okay.
You can get on that, absolutely. But well, let's go back to the current and the now. For what you do find is a long laundry history of the times that not only people who use magic are punished or are taken away to Scorchwood, or they're like not even raised threats, but stories of like the times that the brave and mighty crisis response unit crew, that they, when they went through it, that they would stop people before they even became raised threats. They would predict and figure things out, and they make themselves look very good in these books. There are not so much, what's the word here? There are not so much tellings of people who are sympathizers that specifically went to Scorchwood, but there are tellings of times that people who went to Scorchwood and their followers as such may have gone with them, which may suggest that like there's something going on there or whatever. There's threads you can pull on, but the information on this kind of thing would be limited in a space like this. There are a few people within your group who may be able to shed some light on something like this, or may have I guess information on where they could find out things like this. But this school wouldn't be one of them. The school is super on the level, super above board, because if they ever get investigated or anything goes wrong, they're gone. So they are walking a very thin line, and they have to stay on it. Like that's one of the difficulties and the balances that Remington works on all the time. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. We'll pass on that information to Dash. 100%.
Thank you. This is helpful. Because it's encouraging to know the type of company my father kept, at least.
Look, Dash, if there's anything, I'm happy you at least knew your father for some time.
Yes. Me too. Maybe we're not finished yet.
No, there's always hope.
Of course. Forever the optimist.
Gotta be.
Absolutely. Thank you, Eos. Forgive me, I must dash. I'll see you back in the common room.
Eos.
A while since I managed to squeeze one in. Go on.
That is your 8th pun this campaign. Thank you for hobbling out bot counting that. Eos, I'll move over to you as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Dash over to her.
No.
I'll
Just do it again.
She just face palms into, the big sign your name book thing that's there. But as you previously saw, Eos, she was working quite adamantly on how to use her whip as a tool, practicing with finesse weapons, taking Doki out when possible, and being in every class that she is to attend, be as studious as possible within them. She's burning herself from both ends of the candlestick in the last 2 months.
With that in mind, is there something specifically that you are trying to ascertain, learn, grow with, or is it just the overwhelming nature of you're working the library after curricular? This isn't something you have to do. This is something you do after your classes and stuff, and you have to balance that with Ducky and then with your own friendships and then Dash coming in every 2 seconds to ask about books. There's all of these things that you have to deal with. Is that what's overwhelming you, or is it more is there something you're trying to do as well?
It's just overwhelming that she has this routine. Previously, her only routine was specifically the bookshop, and every now and then a little bit of babysitting. But having so many opportunities given to her and things that she believes she can do, she's very enthusiastic to do all of them. Maybe to her own detriment, she'll have a bit of burnout on the days off, but she's willing to do it.
Nice.
She wants to achieve wherever she can in what she's capable of doing.
Okay. I have something occurred to me during the week. When back in session 0, session 1, Eos hood up, kind of covering her face, kind of, hiding herself. But the more time she spent here, I have to imagine that may have deteriorated. But how does she feel now? Is she comfortable just being herself in her own skin in this place? Seeing other creatures, I suppose. I use the term creatures quite lightly, but
Yeah.
other things that are entities and such that are different than what would be considered the norm, right? How is she feeling with that? How is she taking that on now?
So at this point, there's only 3 locations she would actually be hood off.
Okay.
Otherwise, she's covered up as usual, from tips of her fingers to the sole of her shoes. She's covered.
Gotcha.
The only skin you see is neck, up, ears.
Yeah, under the hood and whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So the only 3 locations those going to be is going to be the library, how she feels this is homely, when she's out with Ducky, and when she's in her room.
Okay.
Even in the common room, she has hood up.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering because I know that was a part of her, and so I was curious how that would have impacted her.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thanks. That's
No
cool
worries.
to know. Senior Hatsu, if you're done, sorry, were you done?
Oh, I'm done, sir.
Good. Sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off. I was just I felt like that was the natural space to jump.
Yeah.
Senior Hatsu.
He's doing the regular stuff. He's training, meditating. He does visit Boreal, but not that frequently anymore, because he feels okay, he's getting used to it.
Ayami, on the other hand, is visiting him every day. So she's keeping an eye on him.
Yeah.
As well.
And he's gonna get the reports from Ayami frequently to look if there's something suspicious. Yeah. That might come up.
All's quiet on the Western Front. Nobody's really trying to attempt to do anything. Nobody's really trying to, she hasn't spotted anything that would be deemed suspicious, but she has, how do I say this? She has taken Boreal's mantle on what she should be doing or what he should be doing, but can't now. So she's kind of listening in when people aren't aware she's listening in, and she's trying to pick up things and stuff like that. And she's learning about who the people are and who she thinks may have more information, that kind of thing. And so now over the 2 months, she's really gotten herself comfortable with how to move through the building and kind of move around people without really being noticed. Nobody picks up on it. Obviously, Remington doesn't really mind that she's there either. So she has permission. It's not like she's just a stranger. But like she is doing her best to be kind of a part of this whole process. But yeah, like pick up the slack for Boreal because he can't, basically.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So he would also do his full moon reports to Daddy.
Okay.
And would report anything and how like the process with Boreal moves on, and that there is a new doctor in the facility, and that he has
Boreal
the suspicion that she also tries to dig further in what that might cause.
Yeah. Boreal knows her pretty well. She is constantly trying to run experiments and trying to test him and push him and, you know, be a part of that. But she doesn't cross any lines and she doesn't hurt him, and she always has people watching her. She never is alone with Boreal. Either Remington himself is there, or failing that, there's usually a higher member of faculty around. So he's never alone. He doesn't like her vibe and doesn't like what she's kind of doing or what she's about. He doesn't get a good vibe from her either, but she hasn't done anything wrong to him either.
So after gathering that stuff, he would also pay her a visit.
Okay.
Like one day, occasionally.
Like, okay, cool.
Like, let's say after like 2 or 3 weeks that she was working with Boreal, he would pay her a visit. And he would go like, excuse me, I don't want to bother you. I'm just here to thank you. And he bows like down a little bit. He says, I've heard you taking care of my brother as well, and try to help figuring out what's going on with him. And we really appreciate that.
Yeah. So... Okay, how did she reply to this? When you come in, she would have more of a cheeky kind of overtone kind of thing. But she quickly adjusts when you're showing her a lot of respect. Yes, well, it takes a strong mind to figure these things out. And who might you be?
Name is Toshitsugu Hatsu.
She hesitates for a moment. Yeah, my name is Dr. Amelia Harrow. What can I do for you, Mr. Toshitsugu?
As I said, I'm just here to thank you, show respect and appreciation for your craft, and thank you for what you're doing for my brother. We don't take it for granted, so the fact that you showed up here to help us figuring out what happened to him does mean a lot to me. So I would give back to you if you need something in this facility, because you're quite new, just let me know. And he kind of bows down and slowly leaves, like goes like backwards through the door and leaves her be.
The one thing you hear on the way out is Toshitsugu. Saigo no Toshi. And then she just gets back to her work as you're leaving.
The rest of the time he would basically spend meditating, try to find his inner peace, and he would think a lot about chicken as well. And he's smiling a little bit when he remembered how Chicken did visit him in the cells. And he gets more and more the impression that he isn't just watched by one entity, rather than more. And he feels blessed and is quite happy about how the situations unfolded for Boreal and him. He's still pissed about the meetings for anger management and stuff, because he doesn't understand it. For him, it's just like he just doesn't understand the concept of what they are talking about.
Yeah, the meetings are more or less... At first they were a thing of like, is this man a threat and do we need to get the police involved? But after that, this was more of a... Yeah, like learning, or maybe the word is sort of teaching, I guess. Trying to help you control anger and your sense in the moment, because you were raised for one thing in an intense situation and you respond to it immediately.
Yeah, I will argue in Hatsu's mind, he doesn't understand why nobody understands that he didn't do it out of anger or hate. And he tries to teach them the cultural differences, that there is some cultures where you can start a war by showing someone the bottom of your shoe. Or that is normal in certain cultures that somebody would spit you in the face to bless you. And there are differences they have to acknowledge, and they also have to understand that not everything has to be measured by the values they carry.
Yeah, so you would be with Martin, most likely, and she'd be talking about... Well... That's true, but the difference between cultures isn't just one way. As much as you can bring your culture to someone else, you have to accept that you are entering theirs. And things can work a little bit differently when you approach it that way. The ability to hide and blend in is one thing, but when you can merge with someone's ideas and cultures and represent, you'd be surprised how quickly and they become malleable to your suggestion and the things that you want.
Without any disrespect, that's not what I try to say. I try to tell you that it's not only me that has to try to understand your position, but also the opposite. There was no harm. I was trying to protect my brother. There was no hate. There was no anger. I'm not an angry person. Don't tell me I'm an angry person.
I'll kill you, bitch.
She's just taking notes.
Yeah, so basically the rest of the time, he would just, like a fucking robot. He would do his stuff, the stuff that he's supposed to do. He would make his 6 power balls every night. Would eat them in the dark. That's it. There's nothing more to it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, easy. Slate, I'll jump to you then, my friend. As we cap off our 2-month period, I'm sure there's a lot going through your mind.
Yep. So, after all the things that have happened, and the new additions to the school and things like that, and some of the conversations that were had, specifically with Amaedrianna about things like the conversation with Dr. Harrow, what was observed in the lab and things like that, I would have been spending time fixating on those, thinking about those, and you know, when being told about for example, the weird gun that she has, you know, I'd like to try and work out, is that something that I have personally seen, and does that ring a bell with me?
Make a history check for me. You have definitely seen this somewhere before. If I may be so bold as to take control of Slate for a moment. There's a searing pain in your mind as you explore these thoughts. These thoughts belong to you, but they are stripped from you. They're being taken from you. These memories are yours, but they are not... They're not really yours to keep. And the more you poke and prod at them, the more they get ripped back away. But you have seen this thing. Not only has it been injected into your skin, but you have seen faces that you suddenly recognize and haven't, as if they were faces you haven't thought of in years, who went through very similar things, and some of which did not make it. Some men, some women, some children, some people very old. There seems to be no line that will not be crossed for whatever the goal is here. The thing that's different is the glass vial on the back has been filled with many different fluids and liquids. White, green, red, black. Tons of them. It hasn't just been used on people, it's been used on plants. It's been used on animals. There's a sense within you, and whether or not you choose to show that to anyone around you is up to you, but that thing chills you to the bone. It's not a good feeling.
For me, it's like immediately when you wake up from a dream, you remember it quite well, but the longer you think on it and the more seconds that you're awake, the more it slips away. Yeah. So I know it, I do and I don't. And with that fixation of how I feel and that chill, you know, it would bring me back to some of the recent thoughts I had on the beach when I was with Weslyn and Amaedrianna, when we were drinking and, you know, having the stuff that was foraged and we had the concoction, etc. And I'm all this talk recently about places like Scorchwood and, you know, all these different things that keep coming up. I'm trying to remember when I last saw Harrow and the others. When I left, where was it that I found myself thereafter when I got outside?
You see, the journey you went on when you found yourself outside, both physically and mentally, are so dramatically different. You found yourself on a boat sailing away from someplace, and you wound up on an island made of ice. The ice didn't deter you. You were cold, but you didn't give a shit because this is still better than where you came from. But where you came from mentally, that's like looking at, you know, the Doctor Who vortex as the TARDIS flies down. You don't know what you're seeing, what's coming at you, or where you're going, but something awaits at the other side. But that's a long journey for Slate. Trying to unpack and unravel all of that is just crazy.
Do I have any memory of, after I escaped the facility, whatever it was, before the boat, anything, even in terms of, you know, geography or, you know, weather patterns, or is there any memories that go with that, or is it just nothing, a haze, a boat, and then there? As I try and piece it together in my mind.
Yeah. It's basically just that. Like, I think that there's a lot of back and forth with with the journey in a sense of just, what's the best way of putting this? You know, Castaway, like the experience for him was that he was on the ship and then he kind of woke up on the island and then he went through this, but days just became blended together. He went through this crazy experience. Like, that is in a sense how things went for you. There's a lot of blended experiences for you, and your earliest memories are, comparatively to anyone else, are very late. So
yeah,
for Slate, it's very difficult to digest. I think I would.
Yeah, perfect.
Typically, I would lean into a role, but for that, I think that's
Yeah. So, based on the fact that, you know, this is over 2 months and this is a lot to unpack, I would imagine I would have come back to it again and again, thinking about different parts of it that I could remember. So, you know, finding that is a piece of the puzzle as such that I just can't unpack, because the harder I think about it, nothing else comes and I gain nothing from it. But obviously what's fresher is anything that's happened more recently. And on the beach, you know, in the visions and flashbacks I had, there were a couple of things that stood out to me. There were 3 names specifically that stood out to me, which was Malachi, Asmos, and Elias. And I just wanted to spend some time over the coming days, you know, trying to, over the 2 months, you know, work out what they meant to me, why are they resonating with me, and see from my memory what I can pull, you know, what images, sight, sound, smells comes back to me when I think about those.
The two of them, you know, because you've heard the names already in so many different layouts, but like there's no hiding that the race threats of Malachi and Asmos, they've come up several times since we began this, and those are 2 of the most recent known race threats that have been around. And
I suppose knowing that, you know, from the previous sessions and from it, like I said, it's come up several times. I suppose what I wanted to think about is what's been presented to me recently, not recently, but like a while ago, how it was presented to everybody was something, you know, historic, something that happened, something that been recorded. What I wanted to know, because these came up in my vision, is what I could remember that related to me, if that makes sense. Any information on those names that might spark specifically with me, rather than something that's general knowledge, or that's if and I could. There may not be anything. That may be all there is. It may just be all that comes to mind is what's public knowledge, and that maybe is what swells around in my head. Just curious as if I spent time thinking on it, if anything would come to mind, is all.
Okay. I'm going to intentionally get you to ask me that question again, but more specific. Lock onto a more specific point of what you're talking about, so that I can kind of figure out where I'm going with this. Yeah, so just like more specifically, what are you looking for here?
So basically, the information that I got is general knowledge. It's second hand, so it's or third hand. It's somebody saying, I read this in a book, you know, or I this, or that is well known, or whatever. What I want to know is anytime I have a memory of somebody talking to me, in front of me, in my presence, that's a first-hand memory of mine that contained those names. So, for example, the memory of coming to the school and people talking about it in the school, or them being mentioned that they're in books in the library, that's a first-hand memory that I have since I got to the school. So I'm looking for a first-hand anything that happened in my presence that I might be able to remember containing those names in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, a sight, a sound, a smell, anything.
So
that's what I'd be trying to think of. Why were they in my vision? Why are they personal to me? Why am I thinking about those? What's going on there?
Give me the third name again. We have Malachi, Asmos. What's the third one? Sorry.
Elias.
Elias, that's right. Oh, Elias, yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we've done work for the first two already. So the race threats and stuff, you guys have done that. So there isn't too much I can give you on that.
If nothing additional comes to mind, that's fine. It's just anything that is specifically additional. So if it's not, that's okay. I can only remember what's there. Yeah.
That one I can work with. So if you give me, I'm going to give you a history check, and I'm going to give you advantage on this.
Okay. It was almost a 19, but instead it is a 10.
Perfect. 10 is tricky. You don't get much on it, but you do keep hearing the name Elias, but it's not in your voice. It's in a more feminine voice. Yeah, that's what you get. Like, you keep recalling more than just hearing it again and again as if it was kind of interactively done previously. You're recalling what you heard in the vision, if that makes sense. And that's what you're clinging on to. But there is something there, but at the moment you don't have that. Yeah.
I'd say based on not knowing a lot, and then recently everything going into turmoil, from sort of living a hermit style life on my own, to then being in the school, to then going to classes, to then the stuff with Boreal, to all the events that's happened, and then, you know, having this random vision, and then having Harrow appear. I would imagine that I am finding it hard to sleep. I'm very overwhelmed. And when you're that tired, even trying to trust your own memory can be difficult. And I would imagine that it's just something at the moment I need to try and settle and revisit when I'm more centered and not completely and utterly on the back foot.
You go into Hatsu's therapy session. It's like, I'll kill you, bitch! Just like...
Then I have one or two other small things. So the last one to do with the vision is specifically the words breakthrough were mentioned in relation to Harrow and my memories. So just again, trying to piece together anything that I have, knowing some of the interactions we've had, knowing about the glass vial gun and the people, animals, plants, all that type of stuff, you know, putting together things like, you know, Scorchwood and all recent things like that, and then the words breakthrough from the vision, trying to see how they fit, if at all, in any way.
Okay. You're making notes and you're compiling them. There's no role for this because this is something that you, Richard, have to do for Slate. You have to figure out his puzzle pieces and stuff. But yeah, you're actively putting together your, once again we mentioned the Charlie Day thing, but we're like you're putting together that like theory board, I suppose, or like the case board, as a detective would call it, or whatever. Yeah.
Perfect. One of the things I was going to do, but it's sort of been done with EOS and Dash, I was going to go to EOS to ask about Scorchwood, to ask about prisoners, escapees, even, you know, the equivalent of like third-party black sites or ancillary things that are to do with, but the side of. But most of that came up already. So if you're happy, I'd just like to say I had that basic conversation and then got similar
Eos is
things
like-
to what was said.
Yeah, Eos is like, you know what? I've actually been researching this. What are the odds?
I have this book. It's still in the cart. I haven't even put it back. Page 55. There you go. So that's that. And then, yeah, so a couple of just quick fire things then. Again, over the last couple of months, I was given a magnifying glass early on. I think by now I would have spent some time and perhaps cast Identify on it and just spent some time with it, because while I'm wondering about everyone and everything, things like that, and you know, before I was doing experiments on things like the food and so on and so forth, having something that's mine but not mine, and all these different thoughts, and you know, I think I would have wanted to take a look at that, even just to put my mind at ease, if not just out of boredom, to do something that wasn't wrecking my head literally.
Okay.
So
yeah, I mean, so I'll start with the magnifying glass. Going from there, it's like, I think that there's a little bit more experimentation done with what you can do with this. It's not just a physical item that allows you to zoom in. It's also a, yes, thank you, Harley. It is, you are absolutely right. It is also and a more, it's like a tactile device that allows you to connect to something within you. It knows you're spinning this, and then all of a sudden it kind of gets your gears turning and makes you feel, okay, I'm in prep mode, or I'm learning, or I'm thinking, or I'm processing, or whatever. And it just gives you, like, it's like turning a physical key for a motor or something. It's kind of just
so
running.
I'm gonna say that it's something that
also very good for your Identify spell.
I'm gonna say when it felt foreign in the beginning, the longer I have it, the more, you know, I always use analogies for like things like kids and so on, but the analogy of a child with their favorite toy, or, you know, and it could be like a piece of string, an elastic band. They get really upset when they're separated from it, when they're not paying attention, they find themselves fiddling with it. It's that kind of thing. That the longer I have it, the happier I am with it, and the more I just find myself using it and having it. So that all makes sense.
Yeah, so it's your fidget spinner, but from like a different age.
Yeah, exactly. So then again, just to finish off the months, you know, I would think I would start spending time and effort using my disguise kit and trying to practice, you know, fake putty noses and ears and eyes and things like that, and not just taking the lazy easy route of doing it as a changeling, just to get proficient in it, because I don't know when I'll probably need it. I may have to use it on somebody else, I don't know, but again, out of boredom, I think I would just start to practice using it, because it's sitting around, it's in my bag, I'm on my own, I'm in my head, and it's the kind of thing you do. So over the time, I think I would do that. I think intermittently at random places on my own or in the common room or otherwise, I definitely think I would continue to practice Weslyn's Song of the Summer, and that he taught me, whether it was sitting on the beach or going for a walk or humming it in the corridors. I think it would be in my head, because the first rendition I did after hearing it wasn't great. And as somebody who has musical talent, it was definitely something you would revisit in downtime. So I think I would be working away on that from time to time.
That's awesome.
I think as well,
I'm gonna say just once or twice, Weslyn, you've heard it somewhere echoing through the halls, and it's just a nice thing for you. Like, you recognize it. I think that's a nice moment.
Yeah, I definitely like to work on that. And I think, you know, from time to time, as was happening, the odd, you know, beer here or there with Weslyn, maybe practicing in the common room like we did. And I definitely think from time to time, whether it was in a class, on the way to class, I'd be trying to bend his ear to get little tips and tricks about how to forage and find things, and what's the difference between a good one and a bad one, and how do we make those concoctions. And I definitely think I would be trying to figure out how to make those batches with Weslyn's help, and it would be something that I would be just bending his ear anytime I can, just being annoying and obsessive about it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the last two things is, I think I would like to check in with Boreal more from the standpoint of, you know, asking, is he okay? But then in a similar vein to everything else, just asking him precisely what they, being all of the above, the infamous they, what they are doing with him. So to him or with him, to again try and jog my memory if, you know, if this is a 10-step program, and then all of a sudden I go, oh, This is step one. I remember step one. Wait until you get to step three. That's horrible. That type of thing. If anything jogs my memory, or if I randomly get spider senses or alarm bells, or all of a sudden something hits me and I go, holy shit. So yeah, I just like to randomly over the 2 months go down every now and then and sort of say, how's your day? And just sort of guess, what are they doing? What are you talking about? And just get little bits and pieces. Just see that he's okay, basically. And yeah, hear what they're up to.
So Boreal will tell you that he's been doing a lot of work on magic. They kind of push his limits. They try and make him tired and see if he snaps at all, or they try and, you know, like make him go above his limits of what he could theoretically cast and he can't. There's a lot of like poking and prodding, and like they not zap him so much, but they definitely try and like push that line and see if they can get anything more out of him than what he is currently giving. To no avail. None of this sounds familiar to you, though.
Perfect. And then the very last thing, as a result of doing all of these things, playing over in my own head at different times of the day, night, on my own, with the others, playing the music, whatever I was doing, thinking about, you know, Harrow, what I can remember of as early as I can remember, what I can remember, where I came from, what happened, the pieces that I have, and all the bits that are flying around at the moment in that big soup of a brain at the minute. I would obviously be checking in with Amaedrianna, because at the beginning of this 2 months, we talked about keeping an eye on Dr. Harrow. I talked about how I really didn't like her, wasn't comfortable, didn't think it was safe, etc. I would imagine that back and forth would continue. I would imagine there would be regular chit-chats and updates, and I would imagine there would probably, you know, Amaedrianna would have probably checked in on her a few times, and so I'd imagine vice versa. We would have just had a little bit of back and forth as we went about anything new, strange, or exciting. So just, yeah, I'm sure that would have happened.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, mostly it's just, it's more of the same. I don't think there's anything really to roll for in that mix.
Yep.
Just processing it through in my head just in case, but I think that's pretty much, yeah, like you're like on track with the information that you have. Like the things that I've given you is basically things that you're focusing on and going through. There isn't too much more to check at this point, not based on what you, not based on what you've experienced so far.
Perfect. Yep. That's me.
Nice. And with that, we will jump to Mr. Weslyn. How's the tail end of your 2 months?
Tail end of the 2 months. The hut is most likely as complete as is going to be. He has fallen into a new routine. During the day, he goes into the building, keeping a watchful eye out for rogue witches.
Important
spends
question.
Time. Yes.
Does Chicken get a small hut with, or does he just share the hut with you? Or do they? I should say, do they share the hut with you?
The hut is always open to Chicken, but Chicken comes and goes as he pleases. Should Chicken desire his own hut, I suppose he would just need to tell me. Given that he only communicates at the moment with stolen goods, I don't know if it's a good idea to just like provide him with a place to hoard stolen goods. 'Cause, yeah, stealing is bad. But yeah, no, he's more than welcome to stay in the hut.
Around the hut, there is a
room.
substantial amount of roast chicken carcasses. Like a substantial amount.
It's going to attract bears. This is how you get ants.
This is how you get ants. You want ants?
This is how you get ants. You want ants? This is how you get them. During the day, yeah, he's in the building. He's spending, I would say, most of the day consuming books.
Just eating them?
Yeah, just eating them, tasting them, licking the spine, the whole sensory experience one goes through.
That's how I read my books. Harry Potter was a wild ride, man.
And yeah, like it almost comes to a point where it's seemingly at random, grabbing a book off a shelf and then staring at it like everyone else seems to do, and digests its contents in Weslyn fashion. In the later afternoons, he returns to dig a hole, to continue to dig a hole, while he still has the strength. And during the evenings, he stares at the sky. He counts the stars, looks at the constellations, trying to find pick out constellations that he can remember from when he was young. Obviously during periods where Slate has come asking for help identifying plants or foraging certain hallucinogenic plants, more than happy to assist, pointing out that some things are in season, some things might not be in season. He's not as familiar with this area, this region, as he was with that which was growing back home, but this looks similar, or that smells similar, or through trial and error, this seems to do the same thing. Should be fine, but if you feel a little gurgly in the stomach afterwards, you might want to seek assistance. And as the weeks begin to wrap up, his attention has now turned to the mountain. He
From Game of Thrones
knows that there's a mountain. There's a gigantic mountain on this island. If memory serves, there's a gigantic mountain here.
There is. It's built into a mountain, yeah. Or it's built kind of against one, yeah.
He is interested, again, while he still has the strength to do this, to summit the mountain. Might be something up there. Maybe there's some copse of trees that...
Just one random old man smoking a pipe.
You know, like...
I climbed here 32 years ago and no one came looking.
Well, congratulations. Here's your pizza.
Oh, man. I would love if I was up on
That
that.
used to call me Ötzi.
Oh, damn. Harley's mad.
That's right, Harley. Yeah, so getting prepared for that. So yeah, it is a cycle of consume as many books as possible, dig a hole.
You're getting brain swole.
Talk to Slate. Well, I mean, and it's probably just a lot of like unnecessary information, like the history of ants in 1427 on the hill of Farthington.
Nailed it. Yeah, that's actually one of the books. Yeah,
pretty amazing.
The animals of the hills of Farthington. Yeah.
The subtitle is "And Why They Love Chicken So Much."
And why they love chicken so much.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't love chicken?
I also give Eos a book.
Yeah.
So I was given a book, and this is where these things live. So I will give this book to Eos, because that's, I think, what you do with these things, right? Entitled The Greenwood Rebellion.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, you can send that across. Yeah. A few of the books that you have read, there are 6 specifically that are children's tales that maybe have appealed to you in some way. One is about a wolf who guards the woods. It's a beautiful tale. Another is about a wizard lost in time. Another is about a small little gnome who became queen. One is about the angel who would be king. One is an Iron Man with a dwarven heart, which is a nice children's tale. And finally, one is a story about a cat burglar. I can send that list to you later.
Okay. If you would, that would be great.
I'll put it in Foundry there.
I will swirl those stories into my memory. Sort of go through this family tree thing again. Again, ancestries don't go forwards. And that is a math problem that doesn't make sense to him entirely. He doesn't know any of those names. And the kin were not in that town that long. But this must be clearly a book of lies, or it's a riddle. And then he will begin gathering materials while his body allows him to climb the mountain.
Nice.
To spend a day or two. Not entirely sure how large it is, but it's I think big enough to take a day, at least a day to summit it, right?
The mountain is going to take a long time. The mountain is huge. The mountain is the cornerstone of this whole island. It's massive and can be seen from. If I could stop dropping everything on my desk, that'd be awesome. It's the mountain.
Check.
Yeah, I know, every single one of them. The mountain is a huge task. Like, thinking about the size of the school and how big it is and how many floors it has, and the mountain like towers it. You can see the mountain from most parts of other islands, unless there's another mountain blocking it. You can actually see this place from quite far away if the weather allows. On top of this mountain, however, is a massive storm cloud that is just resonating there. The journey up is one that would be arduous but doable, if that makes sense. It looks achievable. It just looks intense. Like, think, like Homer Simpson, and he's like, oh my god, that's the murder horn, and they turn his face, and he's like, oh my god, that's the murder horn, and they turn his face slightly again. He's like, oh my god. Like, that whole thing is your experience with this. Yeah, this is the murder horn.
It's big. During his trances across that time, he also has memories of climbing mountains, of being mountains, and begins to focus his...
Did he crush the eyes out of Oberyn when he was a man?
He did. And he stupidly did not parade around, to show off. No. He did that, and then he walked away.
Nice.
Like a smart person.
Like a smart man. Yeah.
Yeah, like a smart person. Yeah. So he begins acquiring the skills, the tool know-how, climbing kits or mountaineering tools.
I mean, Willard
through his
Powerhouse
meditations.
is your guy. Like, he climbs mountains like nobody's business. He definitely.
I'm also just going to jump in there and say, if we're spending time together outside looking at the mountain, I also have pittons, hammer, rope, etc., which has come out before, but in this instance is probably more useful for climbing.
Want to go? You can come with me if you want.
Let's do it. Anytime.
The more we play this game, the more I would hate to be a principal of a school, because it must be a nightmare if your students are like, I want to climb that danger mountain. Like, I just want to do it.
Yeah.
You sign a waiver when you come here. It's fun.
Winter is coming, like, better do it before winter sets in.
Is that the theme today?
It's just called Kenwinism.
Yeah. I'll take it.
That's
if anything is named after me, I'll take it.
Ken's Pizza.
I would take that too. Are you kidding me? Yeah, absolutely. So you guys are prepping. Are you doing this as a duo, or are you letting the group know and open the invite to?
No, I think it'll be just us monsters. Won't involve everyone on a dangerous trek to a place that certainly has answers. Surely has answers. It's too dangerous. It's too much of a risk. Yeah.
Obviously, seeing the distance between the school and the top of the mountain and, storm clouds, presumably we would take at least an afternoon to go into the school and collect, food, rations, water, rain gear, tent, basic necessities for that we may not have, with us immediately, but could be easily foraged, for lack of a better word. And I'm quite sure that I could walk into people's dorms as them and take bits and pieces from around the school to make up a little travel bag with little bits and pieces that we might need.
Oh, yeah.
I just go back to Weslyn and put it all beside his hole or his hut or whatever, and just be like, "There's all the stuff that we got."
There's a hole.
Like a big hole. Maybe that's what where that goes.
That's where you put most of the chicken carcasses, but not that one. That's a load-bearing chicken carcass.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, theoretically, this is an achievable task.
And we'll wait for the right time, the right moment to go. The cloud probably never changes, or the storm, or whatever that is, never changes. But
no.
Miley Cyrus starts to sing.
Yeah. And then just do the routine. Read, consume words, occasionally bleed on the pages, and prepare myself to go to the top of the mountain.
Yeah. In the meantime, Amaedrianna, there are nights when Dr. Harrow is not in the building. She's out in the wilderness, in the trees. She's just sometimes strolling along the beach. She takes a specific interest in a part of the woods. Opposite side to where Weslyn is and stuff. Technically, if you walk out and go left, that's where Weslyn is. That's where you guys are usually watching Dash oil himself up and stuff. If you go right and down, that's where Eos and the stables would normally be, and that's where that woodlands on the that side is where she goes. Not near Ducky, for she seems to be creating a swamp. She is I'll never let it go. She is heading into the tree line, and it becomes more advantageous day by day. So during the day, she's in the school, she's keeping up appearances, she's doing what she needs to do. But during the night, she's doing extracurricular activities.
Like what? I know you said she's going into the forest, but what is she doing?
That answer would entirely depend on a roll from you. So if you want to, like, how close are we getting and keeping an eye on this, first of all?
Let's say 50 feet so that I can see her clearly enough.
Okay. So what I'll say is roll a stealth check. I'm not going to give you advantage or disadvantage on this, but roll a stealth check, yeah.
Right. That'll be a 24.
Not a problem. Hot damn.
Somewhere in the city.
I'll get to follow that up with you can have an active perception check if you want, or you can have investigation. I'll give you either. They both fit into this category. So.
Can I do an active investigation but use my passive perception?
No.
In that case, yeah, I'm going investigation regardless.
Perfect. Yeah, go for it.
No, it's great. That's 14.
Yeah. All right. She's gathering sticks. She's gathering like bits of wood and dried leaves, and she is more or less assembling something that looks like a snowman made of arboreal stuff, like arboreal garbage that's been thrown away, basically. She is, working on, I don't know, it's just kind of fun, maybe. Like it looks playful or something. She's just creating something from nothing. She
Back
wanders
home.
far and wide to do it, though. It's not like because it's not just stuff everywhere, right? Like it's a pretty clean area, so she has to, like, she goes around and she gets stuff, but she's not breaking trees or doing anything like that. She is definitely gathering things that have fallen and are decaying or dead or whatever. Dead parts of trees, you know, like broken sticks.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Because of where I'm from, I would assume that there would be a lot that was automated, a lot that was kind of manufactured,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. You know, with the power and stuff that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be safe to assume that she would know what a, like, say, like a stone or an iron golem would be, and whether this would be akin to it, but more of a nature style?
I'll answer your question with a different answer because that's just how difficult I am as a human being, not just a DM.
Ouch.
You know, self-burn, those are rare. You know, constructs, because very, very wealthy people have them. Like super wealthy. Golems, maybe not, but like definitely what a construct is. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you know how they work, but you've definitely seen constructs around.
Yeah. And an automated creature of humanoid shape as such, yeah. And do I get the feeling that this might be what she's doing? Like a snowman is very much you know, it doesn't have legs. Unless it bounces or rolls, it's not going to move. If she's building something that looks like Swamp Thing, then, you know, that's a little bit different.
Yeah. I mean, akin to Swamp Thing, but not like bipedal necessarily. She's just propping things up and doing things. It's not like a one-to-one life structure. Does that make sense? It's not like right. She's not making the clay golem from the Jewish mythology and mythos and stuff. Well, mythology is probably a strong word. Sorry. I just, because that's just what I know it from. I know it as a myth. I'm not trying to insult anyone. But yeah, no, it's not like the clay golem and stuff like that. It's more akin to like Swamp Thing is a good example, but it's not alive necessarily, and there's no bipedal sense to it. I know I'm just kind of repeating myself, but I'm trying to find another way of phrasing it, but that is kind of it. Yeah.
So I'm going to keep an eye on her to see, one, if she does anything kind of hinky towards it, like a potion, or add something that's particularly special out of a satchel to it or anything like that. The other thing I'm keeping an eye out for is to see if it's... you said she does this a couple of different times, right?
Yeah, this isn't something that's done in a day. This takes days and days. Like, this is something you've picked up on during the process of while they're doing all their stuff and you did the stuff at the very beginning. Yeah. This is what's being picked up.
But has she built just the one, or is it she built a few?
No, like 3.
Okay, so then the second thing I want to check is, do they happen to all look the same? Like, is she trying to create a person she might know in this form as a I don't know, like having a picture of someone next to you that you love or like, or is there a particular familiarity between them all, or are they just like humanoid?
Even humanoid is like, if they're humanoid, they're abominations. They're not like, like, even that is a strong word, but like, it's not like she's trying to make a friend or something, but it is like, you know, just making, like it's people-esque, right? Like, it is
right,
like,
but it's not following the same form as if she's trying to recreate a particular person.
No, like, they're all a little bit different and stuff like that. They're not twins, like, or clones or whatever. They're just or triplets, I should say, but they are like they're just presence, I suppose.
Okay, so then the first part of that question was, does she add anything to it?
Oh, sorry, yes. And I wasn't avoiding the question, but the answer is yes. She is adding different things to it each time,
like potions or
green vials mostly that she's interacting with, but nothing seems to be occurring from it. If you want to investigate them closer at a time she's not there, I can allow that if you'd like, because she doesn't take them with her or anything.
Might try and grab a sample, like even if I can get just a few drops of whatever she's poured onto it or into it.
You would have to get that directly from her because she just hang around. But
Right.
I'll say I won't even give you investigation because there's nothing you need to investigate here. Like it seems like they're kind of growing, like the dead sticks and stuff are growing leaves and stuff. It's like reanimation, but on a very low scale. Like,
Right. Okay. When I've followed her back one evening, I'm gonna come back to this spot and just keep an eye on it for a little while to see if there's any independence from these things she's created.
no, there are kind of vines growing, but what is unusual, and I mean, Amaedrianna doesn't have a massive amount of history with plants. It's not like you're like a botanist or something. You don't have that kind of like relationship with plants. You've lived in a city your whole life. The plants you've seen have been potted and in buildings, and usually, again, not in every building. But what you do see here is like the vines and stuff and the leaves that are growing out of it die rapidly. So the vine will grow out and it'll extend over the period of say a day or two, but then it'll wither and die and it'll stay there. And it's like the leaves will wither and die and fall around it and stuff. It's not achieving life beyond death. It's just a momentary thing. Yeah.
And with each individual one she does, like one, then the next one, then the next one, does that time extend per each of them?
No.
Like,
not
does
over
it
this
seem like
time, no.
so it doesn't seem like she's getting the formula a little bit better each time?
She's definitely working on the formula. Like she's Dr. Harrow. Like you don't need to do much. She's working on the formula, but nothing is changing, at least not in that sense that's being perceived.
Does she ever look frustrated by it?
No, she looks curious by it. Everything that happens, a win or a loss to her, is something. Like
Learning.
she never fails because like she just gets held up in what she's doing. She never fails. Her job is to fail until she succeeds, right? Like everyone is a step up. So for her, she's
it's
just
not a failure.
curious about
It's
it,
a new way not to do it. Exactly.
She's always just taking notes and advising about it, and she looks curious, and she's sometimes hems and haws to herself, like like that kind of thing. There's just not. She's never frustrated, no. But I don't think you've ever seen her frustrated the entire time she's been here, the last month and a half-ish, 2 months. Like, she hasn't been frustrated at all. She doesn't strike you as the person who could be frustrated.
How regularly does she do this?
Initially, it was mostly her just wandering and picking up things and putting it together. That took a while. But now we're at the, like, sort of tail end, about a week. The last week, she's been there every night.
Okay. On that last one, before she, or like when she's gone, I'm going to try and break into her room.
That's going to be extremely difficult when there's no door.
Room of requirement, gotcha.
Other rooms that are partially available are also available.
Well, in that sense...
The room of necessity.
Yeah, the room of necessity. If I believe that that's how in process it might work, I'm going to go to where the door was and try to like imagine that I'm opening the door to walk into her laboratory. Now I've seen the inside of it as well. Yeah. So I've got a very great mental picture of it.
As much as I would love to be like, yeah, this is Harry Potter and that's the room requirement, that's not what's happening. So it doesn't work. But Amaedrianna tries it and I give her an A+ for effort, but it is, yeah, no, that's not unfortunately what's happening here.
All right. Then, yeah, I guess she just, as Slate had said, we catch up every now and again and she'll relay the information as she's gotten it. Be careful for the tree monsters.
For the 3 monsters, okay. And sorry, you're relaying this to people, or is this
to Slate? Because
to Slate specifically. Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
And Slate had said that we'd caught up every now and again when I give them info about what I've seen and what I've heard and about Dr. Harrow, and that would have been one of the things I'd have definitely told them.
Okay. Slate, how would you respond to
that? My immediate reaction would be to suggest that we burn it, but then it would only come back and be rebuilt the same way I wanted to burn the laboratory to the ground the second it started, but it'll only be back tomorrow. But I definitely think we need to start thinking about what I'd be suggesting to Amaedrianna. We need to start thinking about what we're going to do if she does start to perfect this. Because where is it leading? What is it for? And do we want her to have it and or use it? Because from my experience, the answer is no to all of that.
I mean, I am giving you the information. What you want to do with it is up to you, and I'll back you. She's very tricky.
I'm going to suggest that we, I suppose, keep an eye on her, and as things progress, if we feel it reaches a level that crosses a line, if we could gain evidence of that line crossing, then we may have avenues to go with said evidence, but I guess we'd have to have it to prove it.
But I guess if one of them turns up and starts trying to murder the school, we can use that as evidence.
If we can prove it. But yeah. Basically, I suppose I'm thinking that if this concoction starts to work, we need to get some of it closer to the time. If it is going to be a case where something does come into the school, we want to be able to prove that's where it came from and why it came from where it did.
Do any of your abilities, any of your magic, allow you to create like an instantaneous painting? Maybe we could like go out there and take a painting of her doing the deed, as it were.
When you say that, I will cast minor illusion and just do Harrow appearing in front of you doing a painting, and I can say, just because I can do that doesn't mean somebody will believe that that's what happened because I showed it to them.
True. Okay. Well, if I happen to catch her out there and doing that, and that monster happens to come in here and start trying to murder everyone, I'll see if I can grab the vial. At least that should supply some proof.
I think all we can do is wait for now. It's only a matter of time till something goes wrong. Or right, depending on your perspective.
Chicken drags in a corpse. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, absolutely. It is always just a matter of time in the school, apparently.
Can I ask you something, though, Slate?
Sorry.
What a coincidence.
Your mind is jumbled from what you said. Do you know for sure what she was doing to you was horrible? That she wasn't helping?
Normally when I have positive interactions with people, I don't react the way that I am with her. That's all I can explain to you. I don't have control over who I am, what I am, and how I am when she's there, and that's something I've never experienced before.
I have the control.
Sounds like Slate has a crush.
Always comes back to Dash.
I'm just saying that I guess the key is to unlock your mind, which is what I was hoping would happen with Weslyn's concoctions, but it didn't seem to be the case. Well, kind of. We got to the bottom of the scribble, at least.
I'm trying to spend more time in the library. I've talked a little bit with Eos, trying to read about Scorchwood and anything else that might ring a bell. You know, according to Eos, apparently Dash is also looking up stuff from Scorchwood because he just read the book I did right after me. So who knows what we'll come up with together. We'll just have to see. I guess if it's on our minds, maybe something will just work itself out.
Those names that I gave you.
Not a lot other than what we know already. The two of them historically have been raised threats, and that's well known. And other than that, not a lot.
I'm going to ask you this, DM, just because I don't believe that was in my pack. But do I know the name of the raised threat that I'm aware of? There was no name given.
Not that I'm aware of, no. I think I have this really strong memory of redacting that from your pack on purpose because you weren't actually a part of that event. You were just part of the story revolving around that event.
Yeah, I just heard of it, kind of thing.
Yeah, you heard it, so like you didn't get that because that's like a big thing.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. So once she's relayed that Slate, she'll carry on about her thing, but keep an ear out for Eos's Miss Waifu.
And I think it's fair to say that of the toings and froings over 2 months, talking to Amaedrianna every couple of nights and gone out to Weslyn in the forest, I think I would pass on that there is this thing being built on the other side of the forest that she's injecting it, etc., and just say, seeing as you're sleeping out here, keep an eye over there from time to time. You know, there may be witches about.
There are always witches about. Just gestures broadly, you know.
For the podcast listeners, he gestured broadly, yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna go look at those things though.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you take in much of what Amaedrianna has already been relayed. Like, it's very much the same, except for the part where Dr. Harrow's there. I'm assuming you're doing that when she's not around. It is... I mean, it reeks of witchcraft in the sense that, like, she's clearly trying to build a person, and to Weslyn, that's probably way more extreme. Like, I would imagine you can choose, but there's... It's weird.
Not the bees.
Nick Cage, the bees.
I mean, are they like people? Like growing people?
I mean, in the loosest sense of the word, like, if anything, it's like an effigy you burn. It's not like it doesn't look like an actual person. Like,
I will spend the day with them.
talking, chatting,
Yeah.
learning.
Mhm.
Well, my name's Seth. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. It's probably very little would come from it because they are just a collection of dead plants. The only thing that you would gather, I guess, over that time is that the growth does pretty gradually continue, but very quickly for plants, but very slowly for the human eye. So, like, they are like extended vines more when it's done and stuff, but again, they rot, decay, they die. Yeah.
Weird. Gonna not bring any of that stuff back with me. I'm gonna have to get a change of clothes.
Chicken
And
beats
take
against
a-
it.
I have to burn my clothes here so as to not contaminate my own campsite. Get some other clothes. Sure there's clothes inside the I'm sure I can get clothes. It's fine. I'll find them.
I like that most of you are in Hogwarts and he's playing The Division. Yeah.
You still want to dash his suit.
6.
I didn't hear what Ryan said. Sorry, what did you say, Ryan?
I just said it's when you start playing Rainbow Six Siege,
Rainbow
you got
Six,
to worry.
They're playing Siege Contamination. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, he could take Dash's suit. I would love to see Weslyn walk around in like the white suit. That'd be awesome. Yeah, so I mean, you spend a lot of time with it, but there isn't anything really revealed or given from that experience. As night begins to fall, you make your way back home. You probably pass Dr. Harrow on the beach, who's making her way down there. Yeah.
Probably the first I've seen her. Yeah.
Actually, you're probably right. You probably would have no idea who that is. Yeah. I don't think you've engaged with her at all, right? You've mostly been
I
outside.
think so.
Yeah, she probably just looks like a teacher to you or something then.
Just politely dip my head and make my way to the woods on the other side of the island.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else is specifically doing anything because we've kind of gone in around here. Is there anything anyone wants to do to engage with whatever the fuck this is, or is there anything else going on? Eos.
Yes, an idea. Because she's
we
on
end the campaign. Got it.
No, because this person doing things is on Eos's side of the forest. Would Eos at any time stroll past on Ducky to see Harrow doing these things?
I'll let you decide if you would want to be involved in that.
Yeah, muzzle.
That was a hesitant. Yeah. All right, I'll give it to you though. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So one evening, while Eos is eating a chocolate croissant on the back of Ducky, she walks past. Well,
Crumbs all over that nice sharp. Yeah, go ahead.
pretty much, yeah. Just strolling past and see Harrow doing these things, and like that kid who watches Mr. Incredible on his driveway, just sit there and watch.
Just sitting there looking up.
Yeah, just munching away.
What are you waiting for? I don't know. Something amazing, I guess.
Yeah. Love that movie.
Without turning and looking, can I help you at all?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Same thing I do every night, Brain. Or thank you.
There's an earworm now. Thank you.
You're welcome. All my restraint not to shout Narf. So yeah, she's just like the same thing I do every night. Experiment.
Okay. What is it?
Well, either I'm wrong or this is a key to the future. Hold this. And she holds out the torch.
Okay. Eos gets up, duck in, holds the torch.
She pours some of this concoction that she's working on. And on the notepad, you can see that there's just dates and information and like test, whatever, 348 failure, 349 failure. Like it's really high numbers. And she is working on, she pours it on and the vine goes up and then she sort of measures it, checks it out while you're holding the torch. And she continues doing this and she watches as these vines go further up and they grip around the different sort of humanoid-esque abomination thing that we have here. And yeah, so she continues this. She takes a jot down and she points to the vines that are growing and she says, this is what I'm doing.
What's amazing is magic, or is this something you've created?
Oh, this is far beyond magic. This is something anyone can do.
Huh. Okay. With my background and things, would you intricately identify anything that she's written down, certain patterns?
Do you have a background in alchemy?
No.
Then no.
Okay.
This is a very alchemical setup that she's doing. This is concoctions and trials and tests, and all of this data is based on the fluids and stuff that she's using as she basically drips and lathers and covers these sticks in different things to see what happens. Each having a different reaction. It's not as much of a daring change as she would like, and usually she starts taking notes again once it begins to wither and die.
Okay. Impressive. Eos compliments her work, and
She takes the torch
Point.
back and she gives you the space to move around or do whatever you need to.
Eos will point down 20 feet down there. It's very mossy. Be careful. Then I head back. I'm looking.
What you have for the swamp? Perfect. So you sort of separate from her again and you move back, but it's a very pleasant interaction. She was very nice to you and very courteous, and as were you to her, so she will
Be the same
remember
thing
this.
like if you're out for a walk with your dog, you saw something weird, you're like, what's that?
Yeah.
That's all.
Nice. Okay. What we'll do is we'll take a little break here because this is a nice cutoff point. So we'll take a wee little break here. We will have a boss battle in chat. I'll put it on easy mode. I'm going to take an extra few minutes if that's okay. So we'll come back at exactly 9, I think would be fair. And we will pick it up from there. Yeah, we'll do an easy boss battle. I think that's the main thing for anyone in chat, and for those of you who are wondering what that is on YouTube. We do a boss battle at the start of every session and during the break of every session, where you can earn channel points by doing predictions, and you can come hang out and get spammed in chat with stuff that's making me break character and laugh. So it's awesome. Thank you guys so much. I will be back in like 13 minutes. See you soon.
See you in a minute.
And we are back. Hello. That was much needed. I got some food. I feel better. I'm ready to TPK.
Not again.
Not again.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, we joined back with the group on the tail end of investigating Dr. Harrow's plant obsession, I suppose. What do you guys want to do?
Can I speak with plants?
These are dead, so you just interact with object.
Speak with dead plants.
Speak with dead plants. I'll take it. Yeah.
Speak with the dead.
If you do animated object, they might be able to do like a play of like what happened.
Fantasia just kicks in. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, that worked out well for that witch, didn't it?
Over the
Yeah.
2 months, do I receive any letters or anything?
Only what I gave you before last week.
Okay. All right. Fair. Yeah, there's nothing else I want to do for the 2 months, so.
I think I did quite a bit for my 2 months, so I'm happy with what I'm at.
Nope, that's good. So what do you guys want to do as we pick up from our 2 month kind of zip forward, I suppose?
It's a tricky question.
Just finish the schoolwork and
Okay. You do. Over the time, Dr. Harrow continues doing what she's doing. You guys continue doing what you're doing. Remington is just trying to build and do things and try to get things up and running the way they should be. The changes have kicked in by now. So, for example, the sigils are in place. There is security, and they've opened up the form for like students who want to nominate themselves or bring themselves in to also be a part of a watch committee, I suppose. That's kind of where we're at.
I'm going to say that Slate definitely gets in on that, and he makes himself look like the other guy who is all the guards when he's doing it.
Okay.
he's like, wait, you look like me, but I don't feel you like I feel the others. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's yeah, I don't know if Slate, if you're kind of into it now, or if you're just used to flicking around and doing that stuff, or if it's like a really weird system for you or a strange sensation for you still, I don't know. But I do like the idea that like every year, like when new students join and students leave and stuff, it's going to be like a catalog for Slate of like, oh, fresh meat, quite literally, just for you to take. I like that idea.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's anytime he sees a new costume arrive, he just wants to try it on.
Yeah, all these
exactly,
poor fucking kids that they have no idea about this, and then they're greeted with someone that looks just like them, and they're like, wait, what the fuck is going on here?
I like that you call them costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon there'll be like, pillars full of faces that you just like pull off, deep in the bowels of the Death Temple.
Yeah, basically.
A Slate has no name.
A Slate has no name. That's basically it, yeah.
That's a U2 song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where the slate has no name.
God damn it.
Well, he still hasn't found what he's looking for, so.
Yeah, yeah.
My
Take your
God.
inspiration, John.
I already have it.
Magical bracelet thing for opening gates and such. Eos is going to wear that on her ankle. That's all.
Yeah, it's a wrist bracelet, but you can wear whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Between the standing splits to open doors.
Kicking door handles.
Everyone just thinks Eos is under house arrest,
Who says she isn't? Yeah. Amaedrianna, you'll pick up with your fucking phenomenal passive that at some point Dr. Harrow stops coming back. In the mornings she's there, but overnight she's not going back to her office.
I guess one of those nights I'll stay out there and see what she's doing.
Further down the way is this sort of cliff face or cave, and it's completely dark. There's just trees and stuff like that there, but she seems to be entering what looks like a passage of the cave, and suddenly there's like a ray of light, and then it goes away again. She is going indoors somewhere down there.
So she's Madonna. Cool. I'll go in and see if this is like an obvious like Looney Tunes style door, that it's there, but it doesn't look like it because they painted over it to make it look like a dark cave, or whether she's like teleported.
No, it's there. When you like move up towards it, it looks like into the cave is built like this big wooden support thing and a wooden door in front of it. Like it's kind of locked in, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock on it.
Fair enough.
I'm not gonna walk in.
Okay. Yeah, when you you just give it the old rap-a-tappa. She opens the door. Yes.
Just happened to notice you come down, and I know you're always up to something pretty interesting, so I was looking to see if you wanted any assistance.
No, thank you. It's just paperwork.
Weird place to do paperwork, but okay.
I'm sure there are weirder.
Absolutely. How goes your research?
Oh, quite well. Your friend Boreal, he's an interesting one. There's something buried deep in there.
Yes, I didn't really get to know him all that well, other than the fireball he put into my face,
Just be thankful that's all that it was.
You mean he's got more?
Potential? Potentially limitless.
Well, he's definitely not the meager sort that he seems then.
I'm pretty sure we all have secrets buried deep inside, do we not?
I think you pretty much probably know my biggest secret, so I don't really know what else I could hide.
I'm sure we all find something. Is there anything else I can do for you this evening?
Yeah, like I said, I was just passing by and figured I'd offer some help. If you do need help in the future, feel free to ask.
Oh, definitely will. And as she closes the door, you hear kind of first of all a latch, like a but then second of all, like there's a sound of like she's pushing something against the door.
So this building doesn't seem magical.
No, this is something that's just been here. It smells old.
She's a fucking tricksy bitch. Okay.
Fucking Tracy bitch.
I can't break in there. It'd be too obvious. Okay, I'll go back to school.
Okay. Are you telling anyone of your escapades, or are you just...
At some point when I cross Dash, I'm just gonna be like, just because I know it's part of your purview, should we say? There's an interesting cabin out in this like cave opening. I've heard that there's been some storage of goods and things in there. Might want to check it out at some point.
Is it secure?
Just seems like a wooden shack, but I guess because of its location, they think it's secure.
A wooden shack doesn't sound all that interesting, to be honest.
No, but there's been a lot of comings and going in between it. So, anyway, I just saw it on my way past and figured I'd pass on the info because I know yourself and Liz, when she was here, was always looking for something to do.
Haven't flexed my thieving muscles in a while.
Anyway, let me know how you get on.
What's in there that you're looking for?
If there was something in there I was looking for, I would have gone and got it, my dear.
Or else you...
Okay.
I'll take a look.
I like the battle going on in Kian's head of like, what do I want to play into this? What do I want to do?
Okay. Enjoy your day.
See you later.
And I'll go about the rest of my day.
Dash, what are you up to?
Guess I'm going for a trip to the woods.
All right. You find Weslyn because you don't know where you're going.
I know, I told him.
Okay.
I would have told him.
You head down and you encounter 3 stick people, and it's fucking creepy as weird and shit.
The fuck is Amaedrianna doing here?
Yeah, because I'm the woodsy person.
I've given no context. You sent me this direction. I see stick people. I can only assume.
She's into folk art, all right?
Yeah. So you take a look at the stick people. And there is indeed like a little, it's like a hillish thing, and there are some, what looks like a cave on it, and it, appears to be some kind of door as you investigate it.
Oh, by the handle, I guess. See what happens.
Worst criminal ever. You just
Fingerprints
you rattle a handle,
everywhere.
and for some reason the door doesn't open. But you just hear from the door, "Who's out there?"
My name is Dash. Who's in there?
What can I do for you, Dash?
I didn't realize there was a place out here. Very sorry. I didn't know someone was living in there.
I'm sure getting a lot of visitors today.
Really? Out here?
Really out here.
Why?
It's a really good question. Why don't you tell me why you're here, Mr. Dash?
I was told there was a shack here, and I'm nosy.
Well, I suppose go be nosy somewhere else, Dash.
Oh, well, very sorry. I genuinely didn't realize that there was someone here. I won't ask your name because it's a weird. I'm very sorry. I feel very awkward. I don't know what to do here. I'll just leave. Maybe I'll see you. Or probably won't. Okay, bye.
She just doesn't say anything.
Just remind me, you're supposed to be charming, right?
Charm takes many forms, my friend.
It's all part of his process. First, he like makes him feel like he's scared, and then pow! Suddenly, he's covered in baby oil.
Fuck's sake. See, yeah.
Yeah. I guess you make your way back to the school, and Amaedrianna, you see Dash coming back, perplexed as shit.
I didn't see him coming back. I went to watch, and I watched him fail.
Fine. You just see him walking past the stick people.
Interesting, aren't they?
Why did you make these?
I didn't. She did.
Why did she make these? Who is she? What the fuck is going on here?
Do you usually go up and knock on the door of the house that you're trying to rob?
Absolutely. If you're going to be robbed, do you expect someone to knock on the door?
We have very, very different ways of retrieving items.
Absolutely, and mine appears to be much more successful.
Yes, because you got in there, didn't you?
I will.
How much do you want to bet on that?
10 gold.
Why? Okay.
So you think you'll be able to get in there just on charm?
Yes, absolutely.
10 gold. I am not touching you.
He just spit in his hand.
There's that, I am not touching you. And she just turns around and starts walking back to the school.
As you're leaving, Dr. Harrow comes back and she heads towards the stick people, and she's just working away.
Did Dr. Harrow come out like after we've both left, or do you guys see
I'll
her?
let you guys decide. That's fine. Right?
I'm walking back to school regardless when she walks out.
I'd still be inspecting the stick people. I think they're curious.
Sure. Why? Wait a minute. What is happening? Yes.
No. And I'll make it seem like I don't know that she's approaching.
Can't keep her hands off them because they're sticky.
She sees you and just turns around. She starts walking back. She doesn't want to engage in that conversation again.
Fair enough. I assume I might hear the footsteps going the other way, and I'll just start making my way then.
Sure. She's
Again,
just like,
try not to make it seem that I have noticed, just as if coincidentally, you know.
Gotcha. You're not trying to seem overly eager on your first impression. Got it. Yeah, absolutely. Io, Satu, Weslyn, what are you guys up to?
For the moment, he was just...
Atsu hasn't changed. Just
Nice.
still doing his thing.
Oh my god, this is a public space. Okay. And Eos, you're the same. Weslyn, you're kind of prepping for these things as well?
Yeah, like there's no real events or anything occurring for EOS at the moment, so she's just
You're damn
continuing her usual. Yeah.
It's almost as if we hired security, put in a whole bunch of stuff, and now nothing exciting ever happens. And Weslyn, you're kind of prepping for your mountain climb with Slate, correct?
Yeah, before winter hits, which I think is in a few weeks.
Yeah, we're on the just double check because you did ask during the break. We are on the 10th month at the moment of 12, but 13 is a New Year's Day kind of thing. So
That's when winter kicks in, right? It's in the 13th month.
New Year's Day kicks into winter. Yeah, you're in fall at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I need to do this before winter hits.
There is one thing actually I just remembered, if that's okay.
No, it's too late. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
No, please.
Eos is going to turn towards the camera, and she's going to start singing "Happy Birthday to you, Happy birthday to you, Happy birthday, Daddy DM."
God.
It's a fox with a cake.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to chat for doxing me on my birthday. Thank you. Yes,
He's
thank you
only
so much, I appreciate
19.
it. I can't believe it. I'm only 12. Yeah. My
I'm
forehead
really
came out
annoyed
first.
because
Something like that. God
I
damn.
actually thought it was the 23rd. I had it fucking in my head. It's the 23rd. It's the 23rd. And I've still got fucking caught out.
My skin is like crawling. Don't talk about my birthday. I don't do that.
That's what Big Fox wants you to know.
You can all have inspiration for jumping on me.
He's only 39, lads. It's all right.
He's all 19. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only the sweet old age of 10.
He'll be 69 tonight.
I'm but a
He's
boy.
Oh my god.
21 and taxed. That's what he is.
Well, that was a good stream. All right, let's wrap it up.
But yeah,
7 and dog years.
Thank you
for
so
one
much.
thing though, just in case, Eos will carry another croissant with her when she's out on the rides in the evening with ducking.
Just in case for croissant related
You
emergency.
never know. Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Find yourself on a ship. Yeah.
Fair. I have no comeback or rebuttal for that. You're correct. You're correct. That has also frazzled me now. So,
You never know when a wild dog's going to attack you and you throw a chocolate croissant and you can run away.
wild fox will steal your chocolate croissant. A domesticated
Come back,
fox will steal.
chicken. Yeah. Come back, chicken.
Weslyn chicken just shows up with a chocolate croissant.
Stealing.
Yeah, it's at this point I would say like the group has probably at some point come together. Most of you share a dorm space and stuff like that. What is actually known between all of you? Is it kind of just as it has been, like Slate and Amaedrianna knows what's going on with Dr. Harrow, and a little bit Dash knows what's going on with Scorchwood, Slate knows what's going on with Scorchwood, and it's kind of like there's all these wires crossed. Is that where we're at, or is any of this information kind of shared at this point among each other?
I know
Anyone who-
for Amaedrianna, when it comes to Hatsu, he's not really made any attempt to try and talk to her, so she hasn't made any attempt to try and talk to him. With Eos, there's been, passing
Oh,
conversation.
you're not talking to me, so I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah. It's him that needs to apologize.
Wee.
I like to imagine they're in the common room doing exactly that.
Yeah,
Nah.
they're sitting like beside each other, facing away on the couch.
Amaedrianna wouldn't. She wouldn't dignify that childish behaviour. There'd be
How do we
constant
report them, right?
conversations with Eos. How's your day been? What's the library up to? That kind of stuff. Probably not too much more depth than that. Weslyn would have been. I said that she on occasion would go out to the woods and sit with him for a few hours. Wouldn't necessarily even have to talk to him, but would just sit by the water, just sitting there for company kind of thing with him. And Dash, Dash has been too busy. So the most
Busy getting
interaction.
busy.
Oh my.
Well, maybe, but she wouldn't know that. So yeah, that would be her interactions with most of them at this point.
Eos would, of course, tell Amaedrianna what's happened, in the library. She'll tell him that
Yep.
both Dash and Slate, for some reason, are kind of vibing on the same vibe for the same information. That's what it really.
Same vibe. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just
Oh, yeah.
not much else, to be honest. Not actively being probed for said information or whatever. Just how's today? Yeah, it's been pretty good. Oh, did you hear about Mary down the road? Blah, 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 that kind of thing.
Nice. Yeah, pretty easy. As the nights go on, Dr. Harrow continues her experiments. She stays out. She's not coming back. Hatsu, Ayami is bringing this information to you. She is saying that there's something strange going on. There's 3 effigies. She doesn't know what they're for, but they change substantially every time she operates on them. She doesn't know if it's suspicious or weird, but it definitely stands out in a place like this even, so yeah.
So Hatsu makes detailed notes of what Ayama is telling him, with descriptions and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes straight towards my fucking memory. Wait a second, Remington.
Oh, Remington. Okay, cool.
He knocks at the door and he opens it a little bit and he says, Mr. Maleficum Sensei, may I bother you for a second?
Yeah. He's quite happy to see you, and he's like, Hatsu, what can I do for you?
Well, I got some reports that do concern me a little bit.
Sure, that seems to be
And
the problem.
I want to have your opinion on this. And he shows him the circumstances that he was told about, and the sightings, and how it changed, how Ayama documented it.
Right. Do you believe that this is strange, or is she just trying to make a friend?
Well, I have quite some understanding in alchemical processes. It looks to me more like there's no magic involved, but my proficiencies are not good enough to wrap my mind around what she tries to accomplish there. It just looks odd to me, and as we talked about it, we are sharing information about suspicious things, I guess.
Yes. Should we go look, or I'm a little confused if it's important or not. I'm happy to investigate this with you if you need.
Then we should go.
He just comes with you. Ayami's waiting outside for you, and is happy to lead you there because.
Yeah.
You all head down, and it is. It's 3 stick figures in every way that I've described over the past hour and a half or so.
Quickly before you can, I would intend for Dash to some evening go down and leave a bottle of wine with a note outside. So just whether that would happen in conjunction with this at similar time or not, up to your
I'm
ruling.
gonna line it up and just say sure because I'm so curious what the fucking note is.
Oh, the note is simple as sorry for disturbing your solitude. Dash, simple as that. And just a really nice bottle of wine that he got from the thingy in the common room.
Remington trips over it and hits his head off a rock. He's gone. Yeah, no, that's absolutely
One
fine.
down.
One down. Yeah.
So when they arrive at the area, Hatsu would investigate.
You would immediately
these...
see Dash putting a bottle down for sure.
Yeah.
What else would do it? Sorry, you investigate these things. Okay.
He would investigate these things, yeah.
Yeah, hit me with an investigation check for me, please.
Investigaciones. A bad 6.
Oh, so if you need some help looking into things.
Oh, Dash, you're here. Hello.
Good evening. I didn't expect to see you two here.
I came to inspect the
Well,
woodfolk.
it was an investigation before you made it redundant to investigate further, I guess.
I like the idea that that's why you got the 6, was just that Dash distracted you. You're like investigating, you're checking this out, and Dash walks over. Hey guys, what's up?
What's going on over here? Sorry if I've disturbed you. Do you want me to leave, Hatsu, or can I be of any assistance to you here?
Well, I'm interested why you're here.
Amaedrianna bet me that I couldn't get into that hut.
So, like the last few weeks, you're just lazy playing games. Got it. No, we don't need you, I guess.
Fair enough.
Dash, as your principal, it puts me in a moral quandary to suggest such things, but there's another fucking door over there, buddy. You can use that anytime you like.
That's not as fun.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Did you
he
say
starts-
fucking? That's a bit unprofessional.
Did you leave wine there for something?
Unprofessional. That's a good one.
That's spelled professional without, I guess spelled unprofessional without professional. Yeah. He's no, but he is. Yeah, he's just investigating this stuff. He's not sassing you as hard.
Well, I'll leave you to it. Have a good evening.
Well, that was very unusual.
Shot back. Not unusual where I'm concerned.
No way, you've got the passive to hear him.
Must have been the wind.
No, it wasn't.
Well, it's like guarding.
Meanwhile,
puppets
SEOs
sometimes.
Suck.
Absolutely. Hatsu, how do you want to continue this?
Hatsu does move towards the door. Gives it a knock.
Dash, please go away.
I'm sorry, but I'm not Mr. Dash, and I'm sorry to interrupt your silence. Might we have a word for a second?
Something's being dragged away from the door, and then click, and then the door opens, and Dr. Harrow's standing there.
So he bows down like a little bit, and he says, I don't want to talk around it. As you might have heard in the past few weeks, there were strange happenings here. So it's just like a protocol thing to investigate things that look odd, not for the like normal daily stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked you right away, we just curious. We had reports that somebody was doing weird things with plants and sticks, so we are here to talk to you about it. What's it about and things like that.
She looks, well, her face still facing you. She like glances over to Remington, and he's just like, she's like, right, okay. She walks out and she locks the door, and she brings you over to the stick people, and you have a very interesting school. People are paying a lot of attention to what's going on. I suppose that's a good thing. She pours a little bit of fluid on, it grows the vines, recreates the process, and it's the same as.
Well, I assume you don't use magic for this, so what nature is this, what you're doing?
Alchemy. This is science.
And Hatsu kind of looks over to her, and he pulls out his alchemist supplies, and
Her eyes kind of
he
light up a
goes
bit.
like,
She's excited by that.
would you mind teaching me a lesson or two?
It actually just occurs to me, I talked about how easygoing she is and she's not really frustrated by anything, but Dash for 5 minutes pissed her off. Like, I just realized that was like her line. Yeah. She's absolutely super excited about that, and she shows you the different files and tells you their names, and she talks about what the alchemical set actually is. I had one just like this when I was a child.
Well,
Backhanded compliment.
my parents try to teach me a little, but unfortunately we only used it to make like little smoke bombs and stuff like that. So I'm happy that I met somebody that knows how to do more with it. And I really appreciate your lesson, Sensei.
She talks about some of the chemical components that you have and the plants that are here, and she explains that if you were to take some of the dry leaves from this section, and she points to like a place, and you put that in the compound, it'll make a more potent smoke potion. So when you throw it down, it'll last a little longer.
So after Hatsu sees this, like Ayame would notice it, but Remington not necessarily, but he behaves like an 8-year-old that got some cool chemistry stuff shown and tries to reproduce it, and he's super excited about it. So he's about to collect some leaf, and he takes some paper and he makes he puts the supplies and all in the paper, so it looks like a little ball, like a ping pong ball, in that size. And he tries different variations to try to figure a good balance to have a thick smoke for escape, but not too much of an explosion, so it wouldn't make too much sound necessarily. And he just plays around, man. He like rallies around the compound and just smoke, like putting out smoke bombs here and there to test how effective they are and shit.
It's a smoky evening. Amaedrianna, as you sit on the balcony, the fog looks like it's rolling in, but it's just Hatsu. Yeah, like it's definitely something that's pretty cool and unique, and it's not a complicated thing to make. Yeah.
So he would make, like, after he figured it out, he would make 3.
Sure.
And put him in his like usual stuff where he has his shuriken and stuff.
Yeah, message me on Discord privately, and I'll add that to you later. I'll give you I think I actually maybe have it. I'll just take a look.
And after all the shenanigans, he turns to Remington and forgot her name as well. I'm so dumb today.
Ayame?
Dr. Harrow.
Harrow.
And he bows down and says, "Domo arigatou gozaimashita," and sorry for bothering you. We had serious accidents here, so we are on the watch, so don't feel observed. We take care that nobody's gonna bother you anymore.
She seems very grateful for that. Me, the DM, I know Dash is about to kick that door in, but I'm sure she seems pretty grateful for it. He only needs to touch the floor on the inside of the door to win this bet. Like, I don't think he cares how he does it. Yeah, so she starts to head back to her cabin. All of you are sort of walking away. Ayame is walking ahead with Remington and stuff, but something catches your eye. One of the arms of this effigy sort of figure just ever so slightly moves. Faster than the vines have moved, faster than the plants have moved. The arm itself begins to move.
Like the sticky arm.
Sticky arm. What a name for it.
The stick arm, whatever.
Yes. It like almost readjusts. So it moves its arm a little bit and the fingers just kind of stretch slightly. There's the slightest, faintest crack of sticks.
It's a scare chode.
God damn it.
He would turn to Remington and he would go, "Did you see that?"
He looks back. It's just your judgment, Hatsu. What did you see?
He takes a very serious look. That wooden arm just moved.
He leans closer, and his little like spectacles slide down his nose as he's like kind of looking. Yes. It doesn't seem to be moving, but I do believe you. He walks around, he looks at the other ones, but it's not quite happening. Strange.
There a possibility when she could combine my brother's blood with her alchemical knowledge to create something that she normally couldn't.
I'm not sure that she'd be that interested in that, but I don't know what it is she's doing here. She asked if she could use this shack, and it's just tool storage, so I said yes. But realistically, I don't know.
She talked about her experiments, but she didn't actually mention what she's actually trying to do.
Yes. When she's in her off hours, she is free to use the facilities as she sees fit, so she doesn't have to disclose it to me either. He leans forward and he kind of just breaks one of the fingers off, and he looks at it, and he sort of just inspects it, and then he puts it in his coat pocket to just keep it. But he's a little bit startled as the finger regrows. On the actual hand itself, like where the finger was gone, it just comes back. Yeah, just random magic.
So he's a little concerned, so he gives Ayame a look and some hand signs to basically tell her
she leans forward and has her hand on the hilt. Yeah,
that she should take a look on that specifically. And he moves back home with Remington, basically.
Okay, you lead Remington back, and she stays overwatch, but she constant prep. Her hand is on her hilt. She's ready to go. If anything is hinky at all, she's gonna just decapitate the things. You head back with Remington. He's like, I will take some time. I'll look into this. Thank you for your attention on this, Satsu. It looks like it might be more serious than we had anticipated.
It was Ayame's effort to figure that out, I guess. But yeah, we're happy to help.
Very well. Yes. I'm going to talk to some of the staff. I will give them the finger, and we will. Well, what I mean is, I will give them this finger, and we will talk to them about that. I will not be flipping anybody the bed.
He just picks his nose with the finger while he walks away.
He just picks his nose with it.
Amaedrianna.
Actually, have the wand right here. I have the proper one over there, but it's in a display case. Yeah. Hatsu, what do you do when Remington leaves?
He would go back to his normal schedule, kind of thing. He was just paying attention on that because it was brought to him by Ayame, and she wouldn't report on it like lightly if it wouldn't be suspicious. So that's why he went there. But other than that, he's going back to his normal daily business.
And what about the rest of you? Oh, that's very sudden. What about the rest of you?
Wasn't there, so
Yeah, just chilling in the room.
keeping simple.
Yeah, I mean, at this point we can push towards more of the boys that want to mountain climb and do things and engage in that. That, as it'll take a little bit longer, is there anything of, for example, like Hatsu or sorry, not Hatsu, Dash or anything? Are you trying to do anything more tonight with trying to get into that building?
No, specifically left the bottle of wine there with the note. Sorry, I thought this was like the next day. I didn't realize it was the same.
Yeah, no, we're kind of pushing into the thing.
Yeah, and so specifically left the the bottle with the note, and I'm specifically kind of leaving it. Not going to interact with her immediately again. Like leave it a day or two. Maybe try to accidentally bump into her, around the school, but just like literally like no major interaction.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. No, that makes total sense. There is definitely something that sits with you guys in a sort of strange way about what's happening. Dash, what you saw was pretty unusual. Amaedrianna, what you saw with this building is pretty unusual. Hatsu, what you saw in general, all of this is pretty unusual. Yeah. Typically I don't break the flow, but I just want to say thank you so much for that huge raid. That was really, really nice of you guys. Thank you so much, Dutch Dungeons. Hope you guys had an awesome stream. That was really nice. Love it. We really appreciate it, and thank you so much for all the follows and everything, guys. You guys are awesome. We gave you guys a follow as well. We're gonna have a look at your stream. Thank you so much. As the night moves on, it's kind of weird how many people are sort of in their element, in their bed or whatever, and like while Weslyn, you're thinking kind of more of the future and the stories that you're reading, and Eos, you have your tea and you relax, that kind of thing, but the rest of you sort of in different ways have Dr. Harrow on your mind, and it's kind of interesting how infectious that thought process is. It started with one, and now so many of you are thinking about this and processing this and have so many ideas and thoughts, and it's become a focus point over the last month for you guys at Maleficums. Yeah. I'm gonna push forward with the mountain climbing experience then, if that's okay with everyone else. You guys done with tonight?
Yeah,
perfect.
Definitely.
The sun rises on a beautiful morning. There is the smell of salt air coming from the ocean that is not too far from the beach and from the woodlands that you guys are in, but there's also the sound of birds that kicks in pretty early. Slate, you make your way out to Weslyn to prepare. You have your stuff, you have your backpack, you have your like rope and your pittons and whatever else you need. You go to Weslyn and he's up and ready as well, and Chicken is just eating a roast chicken, as is. What do you guys want to do, and how do you want to approach this experience? Because this is the first time you guys have kind of done this. I don't think any of you have a background in this either, so this should be interesting.
I have gained some proficiency during my my trances, remembering times, having memories of previous dreams in which I was a mountaineer. Doesn't make me particularly skilled. These are more echoes of memories, echoes of those experiences.
Of course.
But mechanically gives me proficiency. Is neat. So that's what he has done to prepare. He has also spent time studying the ridge lines of this enormous mountain, and has a general theory of probably the safest approach.
Up is pretty good.
Up, and then we'll figure it out from there. I'm certain there's probably like faces of the mountain that need to be walked around, need to be traversed around. I doubt that there is a straight ascent or an easy ascent. But with the right gear, we should be capable of doing it.
With that and with what you're experiencing, are you telling anybody about what it is that you're accomplishing here, or what it is you're trying to do?
He doesn't really know what he's hoping to accomplish. This is just one gigantic feature of the island. There's a perpetual storm there. Maybe there's a forest there. Maybe that's where he needs to go. But has crossed his mind often these past 2 months as winter quickly approaches, as he rapidly ages and his strength is deteriorating. If he's going to do this, it's now.
Slate, you can see that on him too. Like, he's no longer in the growing into his prime. He's rapidly deteriorating now. He's on the downslide of this, and it's fast.
Speaking of, downsides, we spoke earlier about memories of, men and women, etc., who went through ordeals, put stress on their bodies, etc., and didn't make it, etc. So, I would be somewhat aware of that decline, or at least the beginning of said decline. I would also be very aware of some of the recent, we'll call them good times, that I had with Weslyn, and I think part of why I want to do this is basically because he wants to do it, but also because I've collected bits and pieces over the last couple of months, like we spoke about, and I have enough that we might be able to make something, and I'm eager to get to the top and have that celebration and see where that brings us.
Okay. Is there anything you kind of wanted to add to that, Weslyn, as well, just before I respond to this? Because you were kind of in the middle of talk. I kind of cut you off. I apologize.
No, it is largely impulsive, given it's a weird direction to take. But I mean, as impulsive as 2 months of pseudo planning that leads to actual planning, to the urgency of the need to do the thing. It's been a slow kind of crescendo of desire, even though it is a bit absurd. Even he kind of recognizes the absurdity of this. He's making no secret of it. He's hidden nothing, just not spoken of it, save for the invitation once to Slate. So Amaedrianna's visits to watch him dig his hole or tidy his camp likely would have noticed the gear piling in a neat pile.
Slate collection,
but,
yeah.
Yeah. The Slate collection out now.
Get it in a hole near you.
That's right.
I think my being there, I would fully see it as being a guest because of how Weslyn is, how he talks about his dreams, his visions, and so on and so forth, and his decision to move out into the forest, the grove, etc.
Yeah.
At this point, literally ascend to new heights. The idea would be to let him pick the path up the mountain, only with the odd, if I saw an easier path or a gesture, or I'm just there more as a support role to give him company in this journey. So it's very much his trip and I'm on it.
Okay. You're both about to be on a trip. He picks up a sack of mushrooms. You guys are... We're gonna fly, buddy.
That's weird, dude.
You...
Safety third.
You begin to make your way out towards the... what would be the beginning of your trail, I suppose. Chicken is sticking with you. Just coming along on the adventure. This is the deepest into this kind of woodlands that you've gone, Weslyn, because you have to get through it to get to the mountain. Normally you're kind of on the edgelands and stuff, but this you gotta kind of cut through. The jungle almost the woodlands almost guides you. The trees, the wind is nice. The trees kind of align in such a way that the breeze takes you in the direction you're going. It feels good. It feels right. You feel like you've spent your whole life in these woods, and you've spent a majority of it at this point. There is this feeling of serenity when you're surrounded by these trees, unlike the approach that you had, 10 sessions ago, where you were quite fearful of this. There is a sense of peace now. They have accepted you, the woods. You are part of them, and they are part of you, and that's just how it is.
And then maybe one day they'll let me go.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. You reach the beginning of your ascent. How do you guys want to handle this? How do you guys want to approach this? You guys going carefree, balls to the wall? You like hauling ass and climbing, or is this just a slow, steady, easy climb?
Slow and steady is always the best approach when you're going to places that you're not familiar with. Spend time being mindful of the terrain, the way the hills bend or curve around, cliff faces, the best way to traverse along and up boulders to get access to higher points, locating places to rest that are out of the sun as we lose the tree line, places where water can be found. So keeping an eye on where water carves down from above. In theory, there would be a decent amount coming down given the storm, and feeding back into the ocean around the island. So trying to keep those, particularly those points in sight, because those will be important for staying hydrated. And hydration is important, these sorts of treks.
Yeah. What I'll get from you both then is your choice of athletics or acrobatics check, depending on how you're approaching and how you're climbing. But I need one from both of you, please. In fact, actually, I'll get 3.
We like 3 of those.
3 of whichever you choose. You can mix and
3
match. You can
each?
use 3 each, yeah.
Okay. What I would like to do is to use Mage Hand anytime I'm looking for, if we're climbing and we're doing handholds or anything like that, anytime I can use a pitten and get instead of trying to awkwardly do it, get Mage Hand to assist me with putting pittons in, or the hammer, or vice versa. You know, basically anywhere it can assist me to figure out where I can grab and climb and things like that. I'm just going to keep casting it here and there.
No problem.
I'm going to want to use some inspiration on one of these.
So the first one is a 20, dirty 20.
That's pretty bad on that 4.
I think I'll use inspiration on my nat 1.
Yeah. That is better than a 4.
Nat 1 becomes a 6, so a dirty 20 to a 6. $15.
Wow.
Dirty 20, 6, 15.
Okay. So in terms of what we have here in rolls, we have a nat 20 from John. Congratulations on your nat 20. Nat 20 for a total 22. You have a 7 and a 4. You re-rolled the 4 to get a 10. And Slate, you got a dirty 20 and nat 1, which you re-rolled for a 6 and then a 15. Yeah, so just mark off your inspo then as well. Cool. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So with the use of Mage Hand and stuff like that, you're helping Weslyn as well as setting up pittons, and it's creating a line for you, and you know you're going up further and stuff, but you're doing this cautiously and carefully so that you have a kind of an area that you can control here at least. With ease, like Weslyn is just climbing. There's no problem. Like you feel very comfortable in it, like very calm with this. Chicken is sort of with you and using rocks like a goat would, almost to kind of just like hop up and carefully follow you. But with a nat 20, you're doing great. The higher up you go, the more difficult it becomes. As you start getting to a point where you can no longer hear the sounds of the trees, and you start feeling the wind on your back, and you start feeling how cold it is and how difficult this is, the strain is a lot for you, Weslyn. Like, it's a lot on your body. You have Slate there to help you, but Slate's trying, but you're finding this very difficult. This is something that maybe perhaps you've outaged, but you don't want to give up. You keep trying, and Slate's with you. He's there. He's holding you. He's bringing you up ledges. He's trying to get you to the different points. But as you guys approach that like quarterway mark, that halfway mark, like you're in between the two, it's extremely difficult already. Breathing is hard. You're taking more breaks. You're trying to regularly catch up to yourself.
Is it possible obviously the rolls I made were in advance of any information of what was happening? If, for the sake of argument, I was doing okay and I saw some of this toll happening to Weslyn, would I be able to assist him by using my bardic inspiration to be able to tell him about how great it's going to be to get up the mountain, to try and help him and egg him on and support him, because I can see he's floundering and I feel like I can help him, knowing the circumstance and seeing that I can do it, he can do it, we can do it, Chicken is doing it, and try and give him some support on that. Is that possible?
Yeah, you can give him bardic inspiration. I'll say as a motivational speech kind of thing, motivational quote. You can do it. That's fine. Yeah, I'll say that counts. So Weslyn, you have bardic inspiration. Do you want to just roll that for me for the final one?
Be more than happy to.
So I think it's D6 at his level, right? Yeah, D6. Yeah.
What I'll do to push that through is I'll start playing his Song of the Summer from above him.
I like that. Song of the Summer is just, whoa, Black Betty.
That's right.
Don't fall down.
Please don't fall down.
So
Man, I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you.
Your 10 turns to a 14.
You
guys reach the halfway mark. There are birds beneath you and none above you. There are clouds above you and none beneath you. You're at that point of just, like, first of all, this is where it gets tough. Like, this is where breathing becomes hard. This like hard, not just uncomfortable, but like difficult. This is where you're really, really at a point where you can see above the school. You can see down upon it. You can see the entire Crescent Pearl, and not just that. You look out and you see the scattered islands in the center of this place. You see the volcano way down. You see the mountains, the trees, the desert. You see everything. Like, this is your home. Like, your eyes are drawn to wherever you want to be. But you can see a lot from here.
I'll take the excuse to look at or take in the view and rest. So I'm not as young as I used to be. Not as spry as I used to be.
Like 7 sessions.
Yeah, I don't recover as quickly as I used to.
Yeah.
Maybe look for a place to camp, to eat, and to kind of regain some energy to go perhaps maybe the next day.
Yeah, you put your hand up on the ledge and you heave yourself up, and Chicken's already up there eating a piece of chicken.
Of course. Yeah.
As you get up and sort of sit down on the ledge and you look over, Slate, you climb over as well. You're kind of a little bit behind him just to make sure that he's like not just about to tip over and fall down the mountain or something. Because that's bludgeoning damage you guys won't survive. You extend. There's a nice plateau here where you can set up a small camp, a rest site, or sort of make some food if that's what you want. And the view is just, neither of you have seen anything like this before.
When some time passes and we take in the view, we're resting, sipping from the water skins, having a bit of a ration, whatever it is, I'm going to go through some of the things I have, like, hooded lantern, candle, oil, so on and so forth, that will help us. But I'm going to suggest to Weslyn that if possible, we should go to bed earlier rather than later, and suggest that from my experience of cold climate and things like that, that the colder it is, the sturdier it is, and things tend to melt, shift, etc. And the temperature is lowest at night. So probably the best time to climb is actually early morning. So to go to bed slightly earlier, get up an hour or two earlier and start to make the climb before the sun is fully up, etc. And therefore things like shale, etc. can stick together better. They're easier underfoot. So it's safer to travel up what could be like a sand dune during the day because it doesn't stick as well without the frost and so on. So I'm just going to make those suggestions.
Sounds sound. This is sound advice. We will do that. We'll go early in the morning. Sleep early, rise early.
I'm also going to point out that if it's getting colder, the beer is going to be even better when we get to the top.
I didn't know you had brought beer. This is that will be good at the top. We may have to bribe something when we get there. That'll be a good bribe. Creatures love beer. True.
The day pushes on, and you know, like things are moving. What sort of, like, what time-ish are we talking here that you want to push forward and move?
My suggestion is that 2-3 hours before the sun starts to come up. So there isn't any.
So you're going to stay for. You left kind of in the morning, and it's kind of halfway through this day. So you're going to stay overnight completely and wait for those peak before sunrise. That kind of.
Yeah, the idea is to get up as far as we can before it gets particularly treacherous. Then acclimatize to the altitude, take in the view, rest, get the lung capacity back by resting for a number of hours, eating, drinking, all the things we need to do.
Yeah.
And then readying ourselves for the climb, for the ascent. And the whole point is, on the off chance we come to areas that are treacherous, I suggest that they may be slightly less treacherous a couple of hours before dawn, because even a small bit of sunlight changes the temperature. And like I said, actually a little bit of cold things like shale and slate stick together in cold, which makes them easier to walk on. And, you know, even just that tiny bit lacking, it could be a shitstorm. You could fall all the way down. So I'm just suggesting we go before the sun, and then we might even be at the top when the sun comes up. Okay. Maybe. Who knows?
This is that point. So you guys basically spend the rest of your afternoon, evening here. The sun sets. Dash delivers a bottle of wine to Harrow, and then
I'm also going to throw it out there because I don't know what's coming. Is 50 foot of rope, depending on how treacherous it gets, spinning it between us and tying each other together. Tying each other together, because I don't know about the visibility or what's coming, but I'm just prepping for that may be a possibility that might be worth doing, etc.
Cool. As you guys set up for the evening, chicken curls in sort of between both of you, and the body heat just kind of connects. Making things a bit warmer. Although Chicken's face is just covered in grease. Yeah, like you watch as the sun sets, and it's kind of cool knowing that you get the sunset for longer. This is just for you two. There's probably no one else in this entire the entire of the Wandering Isles that may even know, like, or see this level of sunset, because it lasts longer for you. You get more time with it. You get to appreciate it. You get more of the color change, and you see more of the atmosphere and the information, the intake that you don't get when you're on the ground. Do you guys find it easy to sleep? Is this a difficult process for you, or?
Weslyn goes right to sleep. He's worn out. Out cold.
Snores like a fucking chainsaw.
Yeah, I mean, like actual sleep. Actually sleeps.
It's awesome.
Similarly for Slate, this is not the first time he has put distance between himself and Harrow, and a strange comfort comes back to him the further he gets, and the more isolated he is. It reminds him of when he felt safe before, and also then with the exertion, fresh air, and also that the higher you go, the colder it gets. the colder it gets, the safer he feels. So yeah, he sleeps.
It's a really nice thing that both of you sleep with empty minds. Nothing haunts your dreams, nothing plagues you. You're in a comfortable space. Slate, you wake up on the ground. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
you guys
I felt like a jump scare coming.
I saw you. Yeah, I saw you. I just wanted to. No, it's a good night's sleep, and you guys, as predicted, wake up. Chicken wakes you both up at 3 hours before the butt crack of dawn, and you guys are ready to continue your ascent. You got your 8 hours of walking in. You got a hell of a lot of rest, actual rest. I would say also, as this pretty much marks the end of the week, you can all mark off a long rest if you wish. With that in mind, as you guys begin your secondary ascent, the other 4 of you, is there anything that you guys want to do? Back on ground.
I do want to try to, accidentally on purpose bump into or catch the eye of Harrow.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's not a problem. You catch her while she's like just wandering around the school, I guess. There's nothing too tricky about that.
It's not a case of bump into and be like, oh hey, how are you? Just kind of like in passing, just oh sorry, and you walking because she dashed jumped it. Like he hasn't seen her. He doesn't know.
Well, he would have seen her when she came out to show Hatsu stuff, so you probably would have seen her there and when she walked out, so you'd know what she looks like.
He'd left, dropped the bottle off and left before she came out to Hatsu, but you would have caught a glimpse of her when she was coming out to inspect the...
You bump into her and you like seismic toss her into a wall. Yep.
So she's Magmar, okay. Oh.
Just gravel her, goddammit. Anyway, yeah, so she, no problem. She's like, oh, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just keep walking off and must actually go and get my telestone.
Fuck. Oh, you have one of those?
Oh, yes, you know what it is?
I'm in the know.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I got it from Simmel Becker gave it to me.
Personally?
Yeah.
Huh. You?
Me? Don't sound so surprised.
Well, it's just that you're, a student here, and it's not something that I would have thought that a lowly student would receive, I suppose.
Oh, I'm from Alperas, and he made that connection, I guess. He needed someone to test this. I never got your name, sorry.
Amelia.
Amelia. Pleasure. Sorry, there's so many different cultures. Handshakes or bows or just
Don't
a
touch
nod.
me. It's probably better for you that you don't.
Fair enough. Lovely to meet you, Amelia. I really do have to go, though. But take care.
She just smiles and she nods and she continues on her way.
Cool. Then I actually will go and get the telestone.
Guys, I met the greatest girl today. Just like right into the telestone.
Just like to myself, like sitting on the bed, kicking my heels, like, oh my god. Yeah.
You sang it to Lissa by accident.
Yeah. Speaking of Lissa, that's exactly who I want to try and send a message to. So yeah, I'll go grab my telestone, say her name into it.
You say Amelia first by accident.
No. No, just say Lissa. There's been some changes around here, some interesting folk. There's a job on if you're interested.
There's a delay. Do you think that after 2 months of not seeing each other, the first thing I want to hear about is work?
You want me to say that I miss you because I want you back here, okay?
Want you back for good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, must not sing. There's a silence. And after a moment, you just assume, okay, she's done. She's not gonna reply, and you put the telestone down. And it's better than introducing yourself with your own problems or introducing you with a job offer from me.
I usually know what to say, but you always
You
stop me.
really fucking don't.
Not when you're around. When you come back, we can have a conversation.
We're having a conversation. Your mother sends her regards. I've been checking in on her.
Thank you. How have you been?
Well, it's easier to sneak in and out of places when you don't have a bumbling idiot behind you. I will say that.
Less challenging, though, right?
She just doesn't reply. Why didn't you check on me? There were assassination attempts. The whole school was at risk. You didn't bother? You didn't care?
I
Nobody
care.
did.
Just... Honestly, Nissa, I thought you were stronger than any of us, and I didn't want to say the wrong thing and accidentally imply that you needed help.
When I joined the school, I played along with everything that needed to be done, and I was introduced to a group. And we don't normally work well with others, but when we, not others, like,
Beds, yep.
we don't work well with cows. We don't normally work well with others, but fuckers. It was nice to feel appreciated and to be honest with people. But I was very quickly reminded why we don't work with others, because genuinely, people only ever give a shit about themselves.
We know people are selfish. That's the main reason we're good at what we do. Play their own self-interest against them. For what it's worth, my group here do seem to like you more than me, annoyingly.
It's not the compliment you think it is.
Wasn't intended to be. I'm sorry it took so long. I do care, and I don't feel quite as capable here without you.
In the interest of all of the nice things you're saying, I believe there is some honesty from my side. I kept something from you as well. When I got back here, I robbed you completely. There is nothing left in your room, in your house. It is completely empty. There are some very well-dressed kids, though.
Once they don't get beaten up for wearing fancy clothes, I'm okay with it.
And Palpros? They get beat up for wearing street clothes.
They're just gonna get beat up regardless, aren't they? Poor kids.
You did.
Yeah, but I fought back.
I remember.
I Always aim for the eyes. Yeah. Can I convince you to come back?
Things have to change, Dash. We won't win whatever all of this is if we keep spending all of our time bickering and trying to figure things out and not caring about those people around us. The connections that we forge here are very important. Plus, I can't rob that safe by myself.
Fair enough, Remington dropped a very heavy hit at that. It's... Why are you always right?
In my many years on this planet, I have learned that if I just vote against you, I'm generally right. Rory was like way into that nod. Rory's just like, yep.
I mean, my pride would tell me to argue the point, but history and logic, again, imply that you're correct. Nobody knows more than me that I have a lot to learn, but I'm trying and I would appreciate your help.
What's in it for me?
A baby.
For the podcast, that got a lot of what's in it for me. Just got a lot of reactions where I just started dancing and people started smiling and laughing.
The old clap clap.
Like, so hard to stay in character. Got that.
Bring it back.
What's in it for you? Maybe some honesty from me for a change.
Yes, but I can read you like a book.
What would you like?
To feel like more than an asset or a tool. I get hired by enough people who treat me this way. I don't intend to be in your life just to be a skeleton key for you as well.
I made you feel that way. That was never my intention. You are, without any shadow of a doubt, my best friend.
I was always the shadow, you were always the doubt. Fair enough.
It works.
I'll reach out to Remington in the morning. I'm telling you, if things don't change, I'm going to rob your room in Maleficum's as well.
Fair enough. You can stay with us if you like, rather than your old dorm.
Just no response.
Fair enough. And I have to go shower and wash that moment off me.
IRL.
You can call him Yugi, because he just sent her straight to the fen zone.
It's time to end the session. We'll pick up from here next week. We have to do our post show. Our post show. It is that time. I'm sorry, boys. It's half 10.
Oh, we got postponed as a guest star. Got time.
It's half 10.
22.
We have a session next week. We do have a session next week. It's the week after. We won't be here in 2 weeks' time, but we will be here next week. In the meantime, we're going to be doing some announcements and stuff like that in the coming days. It'll be open to all on Patreon to see the announcements and stuff like that. It's just going to be announced there, though, because it's easier. And we'll probably put it in Discord as well. So feel free to check it out. For those of you who are watching from which way is this? From YouTube
YouTube.
and from listening on the podcast, thank you guys so much for joining us. We super, super appreciate it. And for those of you who are on YouTube, no, Twitch. Fuck, Twitch. Those of you who are on Twitch, we'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Stick around.
We will do our post-show summary wrap-up where I will ask them about 55 questions about what the fuck just happened.
And if you have any questions, don't forget to put them in
get your
chat
questions
or-
ready.
Please ask questions.
Exclamation point questions in chat followed by your question, and you can interact and talk to us and have a good time. It's awesome. It's fun. We will talk and we will laugh, and I will probably have to check the meme thing already. I got tagged on it a few times, so I think there's some stuff there. We'll be back in 5 minutes. See you shortly.
Oi.